Which one? Which one are you picking if you're on the clock and you're looking at Bijan Robinson? You're looking at Nick Chubb. Which one are you taking? We're going to play the name game. We're going to play which one. We're breaking down more names than these two guys on screen. We're taking your phone calls. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, good people? You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. My name is Smitty, and we're going to be taking your phone calls in just a minute. We're going to be breaking down this player, that player. Which player are you taking into the 2023 fantasy football season? Who are you taking in Dynasty? Who are you taking in Redraft? Who are you taking in Best Ball? Who are you taking in Superflex? We're breaking down all of that and more. So file on in, get ready, and we're going to begin with this number right on screen. Bijan, Nick Chubb. We're going to talk Redraft and Dynasty. I'm going to tell you my answer for both of them, and my answer is the same. My answer is the same. This, to me, right here, is a first-round player in Bijan Robinson. You heard me correct. We've been talking about it all offseason long. And a couple new Noahs, not the new Noah in the live chat, but maybe new Nick, new Nancy. These individuals new to the channel, we welcome them. Thank you for being here. You may not understand what time it is when it comes to Bijan, and that's okay. We're here to tell you how it is here on the channel. But this man right here is an absolute monster in the making. This is the next LaDainian Tomlinson. This is the next Saquon Barkley. And new Noahs, new Nancys, new Nicks that are in the chat right now. New, I don't know. Give me another name. New Newmans is what we're going with. Newman doesn't understand how to be predictive. Newman is looking at this going, but wait a minute, Smitty. Wait a minute, 1 second. One second right now, Smitty. Wait a minute. What are we doing here? Here we go. Smitty, just wait 1 second. Wait 1 second, young man. Where's my camera when I need it? There we go. Smitty, I'm going to disagree with you on this one for a couple of reasons. One, we don't know where Bijan's going. We play it safe. I'm a safe Scotty. If we don't know where the landing spot is, we assume doom and gloom. Number two, the man's never taken a snap in the NFL. How can we like him as a number one or number two or number three running back in the National Football League before he's even on a team, Smitty? This is reckless. I'm safe. I'm a safe Scotty. I can't take it. I can't absorb this kind of risk, Smitty. That's not how I operate. Well, this show isn't for everybody. This show is not for everybody. This is easy for me. This is extremely easy for me in Dynasty. And I think if there's a person out there that likes Nick Chubb over Bijan in Dynasty, I don't know what to tell. I know what to tell you. However, I understand the complexity involved in being a little too bold and ahead of the curve when you're talking redraft. I can get behind you and say, look, buddy, let me go ahead and shove you forward and give you a little nudge so that you can go and make the right decision here and redraft and understand this is a top 5 this feels like a top 5 to 7 running back in the worst of scenarios. And it's Newman doesn't understand that. Negative Newman, nervous Newman, he doesn't understand this. He looks at Bijan and says, I don't know where he's going. Somebody else take him. Somebody else take Newman here. Everyone's got a Newman in their draft. Everybody's got a Newman in their draft. This Newman will take Dalvin Cook. Newman will also take Alvin Kamara. Look, I take Kamara too. Crazy Kamara. I take him too. I take him late in the draft. But Newman will take him in the 3rd round still. Newman will take guys like that, question you about Bijan, and take a guy like Cook We got to avoid risk. This is not risky, Rick. And we've got to come into the situation and draft like last year until we see it happen, until it's obvious. What do you think, Oscar? Obvious Oscar says, yeah, let's go ahead until we see it happen. We're going to draft Henry in the first round. We're going to draft Bijan, round 3 or 4? Oscar is not even going to sniff Bijan because he wouldn't even take him at the top of 2. This guy's ADP is going to rise. Throw Dynasty. This conversation, we know it's Dynasty. It's simplest answer you could ever come up with. Redraft is what we're talking about here. We don't need to discuss Dynasty. If you don't know Bijan's ranked number 1, number 2, number 3, at least number 3 in Dynasty running backs, I don't even want to speak to you right now. If you don't think Bijan's top 3, where have you been? How could you even think that? If you believe he's not top 3, call in. Educate me. But in Dynasty, I'm here to really just let everybody know that this is LT. This is LaDainian Tomlinson. This is Barkley meets LT. And if you're scared of the unknown, but Smitty, didn't you once like Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Smitty, you liked Clyde. Smitty, you liked Clyde at one point, Smitty. I remember it so. And I just want you to know, Smitty, that I remember you liked Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What if it happens again? We can't go down this road. It's too risky. Smitty. Clyde has 0 to do with this. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has 0% to do with any of what we're talking about. Don't let the past drive you into a hibernation period where you just wait around for things to unfold. Wait around for Bijan to become the number 1 running back. Who is the number 1 running back by week 7-ish? Who? Maybe Christian McCaffrey was the number 1 overall running back, maybe. But a lot of people, especially people in this room right now, the 73 people watching that have only punched the thumb up button 17 times, I might add. The 73 monsters in this room, a real monster would have hit the thumb up button, though. That's the truth. The 73 monsters in this room right now. The 74 monsters in this room right now. You know what they said? When you asked them in week 7 who's the number 1 running back, go forward. You know what they said? They said this.
Get Breece.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece.
He does a whole of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
He does a hell of a job.
He does. He does a hell of a job. If your answer wasn't, okay, in week 7, one of the top 3 overall running backs moving forward is Breece Hall. I don't know where you were. I don't know what your memory's doing either. Your memory's shoddy. Your memory's cloudy. Your memory's cloudy as can be. This is very possible. This is not an anomaly. This is not something we didn't just witness. And I know it didn't play out the way we wanted. Breece Hall got injured. But Breece Hall was a top 1 to 3 running back by the time week 7 was here. And he was looking like fire during his final game where he had like 4 carries for 70 plus yards and a touchdown on the ground? 4 carries for 70 plus and a touchdown, well on his way in the first half of his 4th amazing monster breakout game. So don't act like this is a shock. Like Schmitty, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Breece Hall. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Breece Hall. Don't let the past influence you away from staying away from rookie running backs. Rookie running backs historically ball out if you get the right ones. This is an easy call in redraft. It's an easy call in redraft. This is Dynasty. This is not a disrespect to Nick Chubb. I saw someone say that this is disrespectful to Nick Chubb. It's not, bro. It's not. It's about who has the most upside. And Bijan could be running back 1 in 2023 at the end of the season. And don't act shocked because Breece Hall was going to do it, or at least be top 2. The only running back behind Christian McCaffrey. That's the trajectory that we had Breece Hall on before he tore his ACL. He was on the path to be at least running back 1 or 2. This is an easy call. Redraft, Dynasty, doesn't matter.
Will he be bossed or fired?
That's not the right button.
Which side would you rather have?
This one. Bijan Robinson. No disrespect to Chubb. No disrespect to Chubb. Chubb is a good player, but Chubb is also at that potential decline year. And if you've got Nick Chubb and he's balling out through week 5, 6, 7, 8, his first 2 months of the season, trade him by the end of the second month. I am very, very concerned about Nick Chubb's ability to do what he might do in the beginning of the year, to do what he did at the beginning of last year, and then tail off like he did in 2023 to a degree. You can say the numbers, the yardage was still pretty decent. His yards per carry were still pretty decent, but tailing off doesn't always mean the player is falling apart. It means that the system, the situation. He was a monster. He was such a monster at the beginning of the season. An absolute monster, Nick Chubb, at the beginning of the year. Touchdown after touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. I can show you his game log. Let's pull up Nick Chubb's game log. Let's review, because I want to be fair to Nick Chubb. I want everybody to understand what I'm saying here, that I'm giving Nick Chubb the respect he deserves for his start from 2022. It was an absolute gem, this guy. What he did in the first part of the season was magnificent. And the problem was his fall off. Not that, again, the yards per carry were okay. Not that he couldn't have, he didn't do pretty well receiving wise with like a 5 reception game in week 18, et cetera, et cetera. But if you look at the touchdown column for Nick Chubb in 2023 down the stretch, it's night and day different. Look at the touchdowns in week 1. Look at these touchdowns. Week 2. Well, first of all, week 1, 141, 0 touchdowns. Who cares? 141 on 22, 6.4 a pop. Exploded. 87 yards and 3 TDs in week number 2 against the Jets. Pittsburgh, 113 and 1 touchdown in week 3. Week 4, 118 and 1 TD. Week number 5, 134 and 2 TDs. It's crazy. Then he had a 91-yard game. He had a 56-yard game. Okay, maybe the drop-off's coming, right? No! 91 and 1. Then in week number 8, before the bye week, 101 and 2. It's crazy when you think about how hot this guy started. He was the best back in football through week 8. It's important to acknowledge that. I want people to understand that I'm extremely, extremely aware of what and how Nick Chubb played in the beginning part of the year. But then we had 2 100-yard games. Again, the yardage wasn't crazy bad. And even the yards per carry, some games. Week 17, 7.4. You had a 4.5, a 5.7, a 4.7. Yeah, there was a couple other games in there. What running back doesn't run for 3.8 yards per game every 4th or 5th game? Look what he did, though. 2 rushing touchdowns the remainder of the season. Not that that's horrible. If he had 5 or 6 above, 7 to 8 TDs wouldn't be bad. It's just a totally different Nick Chubb in terms of how they used him, how often he got in the end zone. And so there's also the concern, there's the being predictive of drop-off. There's being predictive of potential knee concerns. This guy's had one of the most mangled knees you've ever seen in your life. If you go back to his college injury, absolutely gruesome knee injury, the most gruesome knee injury in the history of college football, where his knee essentially, here's your knee and how your knee bends, right? Here's your knee, it bends this way. You're sitting in a chair, okay? His knee bent the exact opposite way, complete 90-degree angle the other way. Tore pretty much everything. We don't even know if he tore his ACL or not. There's some talk that maybe he tore everything but his ACL. Why is that important? He's been playing ball, Smitty, because the knee will deteriorate at a faster rate. You'll have arthritis. You'll have an onset of what took out Todd Gurley very quickly at any moment in time, and his workload is massive. So it's about being predictive. Maybe we jump a year early. Maybe we do. But this is a guy that over the last 3 years, there have been missed games other than in 2022. The volume's been crazy. 298 carries in 2019, 190 in 2020 because he missed time. Then it was in 2021, 228 carries. Then in 2022, 302 carries. The carries at a surface level, it's not like the carries are so crazy like Derrick Henry or like a Zeke Elliott. Those are massive carries. But for the knee injuries, for the knee concerns we do have, he has 2 knees we worry about. I think walking into this year, it's a good practice to assume that he's going to have potentially the start he had last year. So you can't come in here and say, Smitty, he's on fire through week 4. You feel stupid? Absolutely not. Exactly. He's on fire through week 4. Of course. Like predicted. No, but Smitty, you said to not draft Nick Chubb. I didn't say not to draft Nick Chubb. I said draft him, but trade him by week 8. By week 8, right after 2 months of play, draft him, play him, enjoy. Austin Eckler. Draft Austin Eckler. If he falls to the 12-13 turn, take him. Trade him by week 8, week 9. Draft him, have him explode, enjoy. Rinse and repeat. Nick Chubb, draft him, watch him explode, trade him. Eckler, draft him, watch him explode, trade him. Derrick Henry even. If he falls, he's falling to the 3rd round now. Obviously, I'm on to something if the entire the entire fantasy football community is now drafting Derrick Henry in round 3. Clearly, your boy Smitty a little early on watching and being concerned last season. Obviously, everybody's starting to feel that way. But here I am, doubting Smitty, doubtful Smitty about this situation for Derrick Henry. Draft him, watch him, enjoy him, trade him. It's a changing of the guard, people. You can either hang on to the bag and be a year late, or you could be a year early, be predictive, get rid of Chubb, Eckler, Henry, draft him, enjoy, then trade him by week 8. And if I'm wrong, let's say Henry goes out and balls out one more year, then completely drops off in week 18. It's like, oh, good God, barely escaped that one. Good. You had 8 weeks of enjoying Derrick Henry, and you bought low on somebody that was slumping for, let's say, 7-8 weeks. Maybe it's Bijan. Maybe you draft Derrick Henry, you miss out on Bijan because someone else like me snipes him ahead of you, and he has a slow start because of his landing spot, whatever. Henry's balling out. Draft him, enjoy him, trade him, buy low. Henry falls, and if he doesn't, Bijan's going to explode. There's nothing wrong with selling a player at their ultimate high. Bijan's going to explode. Bijan's the guy. Bijan's going to be an absolute monster in 2023. Know that. Now we're gonna move on to ETN. Travis Etienne. We've done this one before, but I think this is a real important topic because both these guys are absolute potential monsters in the making. Both these guys can fluctuate in the 3rd round, sometimes later, sometimes earlier. So much depends on the format. Dynasty, redraft, kind of the same values, kind of the same concerns, kind of the same upsides. These guys really do, on occasion, fall into the exact same ADP. Sometimes they're neck and neck. Sometimes ETN goes at the top of round 3. Sometimes ETN goes at the bottom of round 2. Sometimes ETN goes late round 3. It really just depends. But, and this is a tough one for me because really I want to do one of these numbers. Really, if I'm going to be, if I want to take the shortcut here, we're gonna do one of these numbers. We're going to say, give me both of them. Give me both of them, Smitty. Maybe you can't even draft both of them because they both go in round 3. Maybe one of them slips, but maybe you trade into a scenario where you move your 4th rounder up and you draft wide receiver in round 1, wide receiver in round 2, and then you trade your 4th rounder up and you go ETN and Pollard with your RB1 and RB2. You know? Maybe you go Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and you trade your 25 overall, because if you go Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, let's use that example. Let's go to the board and talk this one out. If we were to go, let's say we're in the one spot. Why is this? Why is this the way? This way. Hold on. What is going on here? Can we get a correct? There we go. It's still upside down. Goodness gracious, man. Let's say we go from this pick, we go Chase. Let's say we take Joe Burrow at this pick. So we got round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. Because this pick's more valuable, it's technically a second round pick, right? Since it's technically a second round pick, where's my other marker? Since it's technically a second round pick, this second can be traded a lot easier. So you know Joe Burrow is falling. You're taking him early here. Let's say you stack up at Chase and Burrow at 1.1, and this is 25 overall. This is 3.1. This right here is 4.12. This right here is this is 2.12. 2.12 and 4.12. So here you go, okay? Instead you go Burrow here. Maybe right here you go let's call it I don't think you're getting Olave here. Let's call it Watson. Let's just say it's Watson. You take Christian Watson here. You take Burrow there. You trade potentially this pick. Let's say you pick, even if you went early here, ETN. That's early. Let's trade your 5th and 6th rounders up to get Tony Pollard, either in this range or right in this range. That's one way to do it. Another way is to let Burrow fall here. Maybe Burrow falls here. And then right here, you take ETN and Pollard. That might be the easier path to this situation. So 1.1, you take Chase, ETN and Pollard back to back. You do a little early drafting there. Maybe you trade this 2.12 down here and get some value. And that way you can take ETN and Pollard. You can't even see that, can you? ETN and Pollard, and that move down from 2 allows and affords you to move Joe Burrow up potentially, or that pick where you're taking Joe Burrow up so you can guarantee to get Burrow. There's so many ways to trade into Chase, Pollard, ETN, Burrow. There's so many ways to trade into it. These are phenomenal potential starts. That looks like a mess. That's a mess that I just put on the board there. Hopefully I made some sense there. Okay, so we can't take the easy way out and pick both these guys. Let me get rid of one of these and let's have a real conversation here. Push comes to shove, which player am I taking? Am I taking ETN, who I love? This is a potential top 5 to 7 wide receiver / running back / wide receiver. This is the inverse of Deebo Samuel. Is it? Is it? Because they aren't using him that way. Look, we're a little concerned. Let's be honest. Let's have real talk here. Let's have real talk about this situation. There's a debate to be had. Don't act like this isn't a debate. If you're in here saying, easy answer is ETN or easy answer is Pollard. These are both monsters in the making. These are both players with the risk factors as well. These are both players that kind of belong in round 3, not round 2, because of the risk factors. I don't really want you drafting ETN or Pollard at 2.12. Like I illustrated here, I'd rather you trade down and not have a second round pick devoted to Pollard or ETN because they don't feel like second rounders. Not that they can't earn it. I'm not saying that. I'm merely saying that you can take full advantage of a trade down if you have the ability, 1, 2, 3, 4, to trade this pick. Trade this pick into this territory here so that it affords you to maybe move your 5th rounder up into this turn right here. So you trade your 5th rounder and let's say your 7th rounder. Trade your 5th and 7th to get this pick right here. That's how you dominate. That's how you dominate. You take Jamar Chase from this selection here. You take Pollard early here. You take ETN right here. You take your Joe Burrow here because you don't want to miss out on Burrow. You want to get burrowed. You're willingly wanting to get burrowed, and then you still get your Watson right here. Who isn't dominating? Raise your hand in the chat if I didn't just show you a blueprint to win your league. Jamar Chase, Watson at wide receiver, Pollard, ETN, Joe Burrow. Mike drop. Mike drop. Walk out of your league with a smile, grin to grin. Yeah, you lost your pick, right? Well, look at it objectively. Your second round pick isn't missing. Your second round pick is inside round number 3. So it just moved down slightly. And in that, you moved your 5th rounder up into the top of round 4. So to make all these moves, you essentially lost only your 7th rounder. You moved 2 to 3. You moved 5 to the top of 4. And you got rid of 7. You gave it away free in the transaction. Boo-hoo. My 7th is gone. Guess what? Kick the can down the road one more time. You know my kick the can strategy. You trade your, let's go 8 and 9. You trade your 8 and 9 to get another 6. Now all of a sudden, your 6 rounder's there. You lost your 7 and you lost your 8 and your 9. Because now your first rounder's there. Your second rounder's in round 2, so you didn't lose it. You've got your second rounder original. You've got your original 4. Your 5 is in the 4. Your 6 now is here. And you lost your 7, your 8, and essentially your 9 to make those moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks in the first 6 rounds. You're if I said it wrong, saying you'd only lose 2 rounds, I misspoke. You're basically creating voids later in your draft at the expense of bulking up. You're gonna have a cost of what you're doing. You're gonna pay the price for some reason. You're gonna end up having to pay the bill for having a conglomerate that you're building, a monopoly, a fantasy football monopoly that you're building, and you could even potentially kick the can one more time. I highly doubt someone wants to trade with you at this point. You've made enemies at this point, but you could essentially trade your 10 and 11 for a 7. Your 10 and 11 for a top of 8. Now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you got to pick an 8, 7. You got 7 picks in the top 8 rounds. Your void doesn't start until round 9 at that juncture. That's called kicking the can down the road. I highly recommend the kick the can down the road strategy. And I don't mean this in a very arrogant way, but yes, I do. You start trading like this, guess what happens? People don't want to trade with you anymore. There's a reason your boy Smitty is called the league ender in a lot of leagues. And this is not me just making up some story about myself. You can ask people in the chat. Ask people in the chat. Ask somebody raise their hand and step up and admit that your boy Smitty, we've done leagues that have ended, follower leagues that have ended after I maneuver and make some crazy trades. Like the one that I did with Spacula, in a way. No offense, Spacula, if you're watching. But your boy Smitty knows how to trade. I know how to trade. I know how to get an extreme amount of value. In the voicemail follower league, your boy Smitty moved all these picks up during the draft, and it created a whole bunch of negative buzz. Admit it. Somebody step up in the chat and admit the league ender came into a follower league. This is why I don't play in a lot of follower dynasty leagues, because if I'm really going to get active and trade, it ends up pissing people off. So the kick the can down the road, the aggressive draft pick trading, it's a league ender. You can end a dynasty league. You can end a dynasty league if you're not careful. You can end a dynasty league. Rise Above says this is spectacular. But I have several leagues where this becomes a problem. This becomes a big, big problem. 183 is the fake weight. I don't know what you guys are talking about. We're talking about ETN and Pollard here. We're talking about 2 conglomerate monsters. 2 guys that could help you build a monopoly in fantasy football. I just showed you the blueprint. I showed you how to not make friends. I showed you how to build enemies, though. So please use the draft pick trading techniques that your boy tells you and teaches you at a caution. With a cautionary tale at play, that you might lose friendships. You might have people quit your league. It's called league-ending draft pick trading. It's called kicking the can down the road. And it's not always the best approach if you want to keep your league together. Okay, back to the question at hand. ETN or Pollard? Pollard or ETN? God, I love Here's the correct answer. You want the correct, this is, in my opinion, the correct answer. If we knew the Jaguars were going to throw to this man, the answer would be ETN. It would be. It would be, because guess what? If this guy was to pull in, let's call it 65, 70 receptions, which he's fully capable of doing, kind of lives in a committee mindset environment. Okay, we have to be objective and say this is why he is in round 3. There's a reason ETN is in round 3, because he lives in a Peterson running back by committee mentality environment. The positive, though, the positive is that this guy is proven. He's battle tested. He may be objective changing for Peterson and the staff. They may say to themselves, look, we're normally committee, but we really trust and want to get the hands on this guy Pollard. The problem is he doesn't have the reception totals that we want. The problem is we don't have a good feeling that they understand the assignment when it comes to passing the football to ETN. Let me be very clear and say that I'm not projecting him to finish this high. I'm projecting him to be this good if he's utilized. So understand what I'm about to say, and don't go running your mouth and say Smitty just said this when you don't even know what you're talking about, because I'm about to tell you a negative, in a sense, on top of a positive. Okay, so this is the concern, but it's also the upside and ceiling. Here's ETN's game log from last year. I have 2 points here. One's a negative in regards to this ETN stat line. One's a positive. The negative is this: receiving yards, receiving yards 316, receptions 335, receiving TDs 0. This is hogwash. This is garbage. This is like having a Corvette in the garage and never taking it out for a spin. This is having a Jeep Unlimited raised with all kinds of accessories and accoutrements, and you don't even ever drive over a median, at least in the middle of the road. You have a Jeep Unlimited, there's traffic, you can't go anywhere for 15 miles. Not only will you not off-road this thing, you own a Jeep Unlimited, you won't even drive over the median to do a U-turn and get out of the traffic and utilize the fact that you have a raised Jeep Unlimited. A Jeep Unlimited, an absolute, like a JK. A JK, I had a JK. I miss my JK. I had a Jeep Unlimited. This thing was my favorite thing ever. I'm going to get one again soon. I'm going to buy another one. I love my JK. But Jeeps are meant to be utilized. This guy, he's like a Jeep Unlimited. And look what they're doing. They keep him in the garage. 35 receptions for 316 and 0 TDs. Does anybody understand that ETN could be a top 1 to 5 overall receiving back in the National Football League? Understand the words that are coming out of my mouth right now. Could be. Could be, because they don't use them like that. And that's the concern. Will they? Do they understand what they have? I don't know that they do. We know what he's capable of doing. We know this guy's capable of catching 20 yards a catch, 65, 70 receptions for 650, and 4 or 5 receiving touchdowns. Understand what I'm saying. ETN's capable of a 600 or 700 yard receiving season with, 65 to 70 plus receiving receptions and 3, 4, 5 receiving touchdowns. This is the inverse of Deebo Samuel, but it's never taken out of the garage. I want to say ETN very badly. Part of me is concerned. There are red flags. If he's utilized, guys, this is in hindsight a top 8 overall player. In hindsight, if he's utilized, if he gets double the production in receptions and yardage and gets his 3 to 4 touchdowns, this is a top 5 overall player, essentially. Understand that in PPR and half PPR. You're not using your noggin if you think that this guy is going to get 5 TDs again in 2023. Let me tell you something. For people that own Travis Etienne, For people that own Travis Etienne, there's something.
Alert. Maximum levels reached. Prepare for transformation. Alert. Maximum levels reached. Prepare for transformation.
Time for a Smitty rant.
You thought I was in rant mode a second ago. Wait till you hear this little number. You are looking at a player in Travis Etienne that is a top 5 to 7. Top 5 to 7. Look, I'm using two hands, Mom. Top 5 to 7. And get that meatloaf ready by now. This is a player. This is my old football. Hold on. This is a player that, if utilized, would absolutely, without hesitation, without equivocation, without me stuttering about, this is a man that is a top 5 to 7 overall player in fantasy football, half PPR or PPR. If you don't see that potential, at least, we're concerned. I'm talking about the red flags right now. This is my red flag rant. We need a button for that. Red flag rant. Who's calling right now? Flounder. What is it? What on earth is Flounder? Flounder, I'm in the middle of a rant. What do you want?
You're killing it, baby.
Are you here to disagree with me today, Flounder?
No, you're killing it. You're killing it. You're killing it. We don't even know if Tony Pollard's going to be healthy.
Oh. No one said, Flounder, that I was going to come in and not have a similar flip the script moment on Tony Pollard. Just don't get your panties in a bunch and get ready, because the Tony Pollard reverse angle is about to come up on you, bro. Just hang tight, okay? Call back after I'm done with my rant. Flounder, you're ruining my rant. Yeah. Call back.
All right.
What's this guy doing? In the middle of a rant, he's dialing in. I'm not stuttering. There's no hesitation, no equivocation in this man's voice right here. Listen to what I'm saying about ETN. Top 5 to 7 running back in 2023 if he's fed double the receiving production. If you didn't own ETN in fantasy football 2023, what I'm about to say is about to go over your head like you're Kyler Murray and the birds flying across the stadium real low. And he's looking over the line of scrimmage. This is about to go over your head to that degree, because you don't understand. You didn't own ETN last year. You didn't go through the growing pains and the rookie season ETN had last year. But Smitty, he's not a rookie. Smitty, did you just say ETN? So this guy doesn't even know ETN was a sophomore last year. We know, Bob, but he literally didn't play a single down his rookie season. Essentially, ETN went through the growing pains in 2022 that a rookie would have went through. This was his first year. He didn't have a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 7 weeks like Breece Hall. He didn't have even Javonte Williams time. This guy was literally a rookie in all intents and purposes in 2022. So we have to cut ETN some slack in learning pass protection for the Jaguars, in learning pass protection at the NFL level, getting to know his coaching staff, getting rapport built back up with his old college quarterback. You heard me correct. These two, Trevor Lawrence, the law dog, who was getting under his feet too, because guess what? He had pretty much a rookie year in 2022 as well. Wait a minute, Smitty. Didn't you know that it wasn't his rookie year, Smitty? T-Law was in the league before this year, Smitty. You don't even know what you're talking about. Look, we had a reset. Urban Meyer year, throw it out the window. Total reset for both ETN and for T-Law. If you think T-Law is done, I've got a cone helmet to sell you that will prevent concussions if you wear it all preseason long. If you think T-Law, the law dog's not coming out for blood in 2023, you don't know what you're talking about. T-Law's just getting going. T-Law and ETN have a rapport that people couldn't even imagine. And so when you say, oh, ETN won't get better at this, or hey, the team won't throw to ETN more, we're concerned about it because the receiving numbers weren't great last year, but he was a rookie. He was a sophomore, but it was his rookie season. And Trevor Lawrence was, he was in the league, obviously, but he didn't really get unlocked or properly utilized until last season during a reset year, a new system that had to be redone from top to bottom because Urban Meyer came in and crapped the bed. T-Law is going to be a monster in the making. And you know what? We're going to have more on T-Law because there are reasons, and I've done a lot of Superflex, there are reasons to say, you know what? If you're drafting at number 6 overall, and it goes in any order: Mahomes, Hurts, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Fields, or Fields, Burrow, whatever. And those 5 quarterbacks are off the board. And I've told you I like the risky. Let's go with let's say a Chase or a JJ in round 2. Go with a potential Bijan in round 3. Go with the second round player that could be, someone that you would draft in the second round, like a Garrett Wilson or whatever, and then go quarterback later. I still love the approach. If you're given a 7, 8, 9, 10 overall pick, and even T-Law's on the board, it's fun to deploy that strategy in a 2 QB league or a super flex league. However, I'm okay with T-Law being the 6th quarterback off the board, and you saying literally, if let's say Lamar doesn't go to a great location, there's 6 quarterbacks, then you maybe resort to the Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson drafting in Superflex leagues. T-Law's got the capability of having, mark this down, get out your pens, this is why you went to college, start recording what I'm about to say. It's going to be short. T-Law, Trevor Lawrence, could be the quarterback in the National Football League most likely to throw for multiple 4-touchdown games. You heard me correct. This is the same thing that I talked about with Jalen Hurts and some of the predictions I made with Jalen Hurts last year. T-Law could be the guy that throws for 2 4-touchdown games in 2023. T-Law might be the most capable quarterback of throwing for 3+ touchdown games. He might have 1 or 2 touchdowns in one game. He might have good yardage one game, bad yardage, still some growing pains here or there. But T-Law could be a 3 to 4 touchdown signal caller on many a games where he says, take one, ETN, take one, ETN walks one and 7 yards away. My whole point of hitting the rant button wasn't to talk about T-Law. I don't know how I got on that topic. What I'm here to discuss is one thing and one thing alone. If you owned ETN, and I'm talking to you right now, you know who I'm speaking to. If you owned ETN last year, you know. These people don't know. If you didn't own ETN last year, you don't know what I'm about to say. If you did, you know what I'm saying. ETN left so much on the table. Understand what I mean on that. This is the most powerful thing you're going to hear the rest of the show. ETN, if you owned him last year, you know that he had the most opportunities missed in 2023 that really weren't his fault. He had probably the most bad luck out of any running back in the National Football League, other than an ACL tear for Breece Hall. You could consider the worst luck when that guy was going to be the number 1 running back by the end of week 18. But other than Breece Hall and Javonte, the worst luck award goes to Travis Etienne. This man had Jermichael Hasty ripping off a, 55, 60-yard touchdown run when Etienne gets pulled out. He gets 3 or 4 back goal line carries, and as soon as he gets the football, he's hit before he's even securing the football, gets taken down in the backfield, and people say stupid things like, he's not a good goal line back, Smitty. I know he's not. This guy's elusive. He's fine. Hopefully they don't view him as a ineffective goal line back because of the lack of success during goal line carries, but it's head-scratching how much bad luck ETN had in 2023. So many touchdowns, so many points, so many receptions, so many opportunities left on the board. James Robinson vulturing in the early weeks, and you had just ridiculous rickies coming in and going, Schmitty, you were wrong about James Robinson. He looks fantastic. He was dragging his leg on that like 50-plus yard scamper, and everyone said, look how good he looks. He had a wide open rushing lane. Almost got caught. It felt like I was playing Fortnite, and I was out of that ability to run fast, and it's just really, really slow. And the dude's got nobody around him. He runs and rumbles for this slow breakaway touchdown run, and everyone said, God, James Robinson's here. And ETN was getting cut. Dameon Pierce was getting cut. Kenneth Walker was getting cut. 3 moon men that your boy told you were going to explode in 2023. People were cutting ETN. People were cutting Kenneth Walker. People were cutting Dameon Pierce. Ridiculous. We knew the rise was coming, but the point is, ETN left so many points on the board that it's ridiculous when you reflect back upon it and you don't consider that when you walk into 2023. He's not going to have the bad luck that he had last season, with James Robinson, with Jermichael Hasty, with goal line carries. This guy had 5 touchdowns when he should have had 12 to 15. When you rip off 10 yards a pop and you come out of the game and Jermichael Hasty runs a 50-yard touchdown scamper, it pisses you off. And you start to realize ETN's upside's greater than anybody that doesn't even understand his ceiling value will ever come to terms with until it ends up unfolding before your very eyes. In a nutshell, all in all, Travis Etienne could be looking upwards of 55, 60 receptions, could be looking upwards of 500 receiving yards, could be looking upwards of 2 to 3 to 4 touchdowns receiving. That kind of uptick with, let's say, no improvement on the ground. Let's say he runs 220 times, has somewhat of a committee situation, which is what you want. You don't want him getting 290 carries. This is an Alvin Kamara hybrid workhorse. So is this guy. These guys you want at about 220, 225, 230. That's a perfect number. Even 240 is fine. 240 would be great. 235, 240, somewhere in that territory for both these guys. That means somebody needs to carry the workload a little bit. Somebody needs to come in and spell these guys. They can't be the guy that gets every carry. Now, this, of course, will in turn have some of those Jermichael Hasty rip off a touchdown moments. It's just natural for a guy that is in the workhorse hybrid role, like ETN, Pollard, like an Alvin Kamara. That's the nature of that situation. So please totally understand what we're talking about here. This is not a situation. Where's my Pollard? There we go. No improvement, let's say. 5 yards a carry. Guy could average 7 yards per carry. 7 to 8 yards per carry with the way he's efficient. But let's give him 5 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns, 220 to 225 attempts, 1,100 to 1,125. No improvement. No improvement. Give him 60 receptions, 60, 65 receptions, 500 receiving, and 3 to 4 touchdowns. You are looking at a top 5 to 7 running back in fantasy football 2023.
You've just been Smitty approved.
People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
You are talking about a guy that wins you leagues in round 3. People are letting this guy fall to round 3. Don't get excited from this video and just go drafting ETN in the first round. Take advantage of his 3rd round value, and guess what I'll be playing for you all off season long. When you file on into my live stream and say, Smitty, I grabbed ETN in the 3rd round. Do you know what button I'm going to press for you? Because you listened and deployed the strategy appropriately. This is the button I'm going to hit for you all off season long.
Got him.
Here's the crazy part. I haven't selected ETN yet. I still have this over here. I was merely speaking on ETN. I was merely talking about ETN. I don't know the ETN is the choice here if I'm forced to pick a player. These are both top 5 caliber running backs. The question is going to be, coming out of the 2023 NFL draft. Coming out of the 2023 NFL draft, you have 2 guys that have 2 potential problems. And 2 guys that have 2 potential reasons to think, multiple reasons to think they're about to take a big step forward at the next level in the National Football League. Just become absolute monsters. This guy, Tony Pollard, let's pull up his stat log before we start running our mouth about ETN being the only choice here. Because the God's honest truth is, I already told you from the top of this, I wanted to choose both. I wanted to do this. This is what I ultimately wanted to do when I first brought these 2 guys up. I don't know that I can even choose to press the button at the end of the day. I'm going to be honest and spoil it for you. This is how I really feel. I can't do this. Really, at the end of the day, it's this. But I'll try and choose at the end. I will. I don't even know what I'm going to pick yet. I'm being honest with you. I don't know which button I'm going to pick. I've picked Pollard before. I've kind of gravitated toward that. But I don't know. I could surprise you. I'm going to surprise me. I have not yet decided which one I'm going to pick. Let's go ahead and pull this off so people know that I haven't picked yet. Pollard, if we pull up Pollard's game log, and I want to emphasize another thing here that is very, very vital. And if you take away anything from this little sesh that we're doing right here, I want you to take away this right here. The guy had merely 193 rushing attempts, and yet he had 9 touchdowns on the ground. Let me pull this graphic over so that you can see this. He had not that I even need to highlight it because it's only one season, but I wanted to highlight it real quick. Tony Pollard. Okay, we're talking about Tony Pollard right now. I'm going to circle his face because I haven't chosen what player yet. But Tony Pollard had 10.07 on the ground, 5.2 yards per carry. Do you notice anything similar about these two seasons? This is ETN season right here. Okay, ETN had 11.25, 220. Pollard had 193 and 10.07. ETN had 5.1 yards per carry. Pollard had 5.2 yards per carry. ETN had more rushing yards, less touchdowns. He had 9, he had 5. He had 39 receptions, he had 35. He had 371, he had 316. He had 3 TDs, he had 0. It really what it comes down to between these two guys, there's some offset in some potential numbers, but these are workhorse hybrids that are barely getting over 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards, and that's fine. That's the design of it, but it's Tony Pollard touchdowns. Here's the problem, though, if we start saying, oh, well, this translates into Pollard 100% having more touchdown opportunities. You can't factor in using statistics or historical data what I just went on a rant for. The reason I hit the rant button to begin with was because if you owned Pollard last year, you understand that, ETN, you understand that there are so many stats and touchdowns and opportunities that got left on the table. He had such bad luck. You can't really extrapolate last year's touchdown production to this year. You can't really extrapolate last year's receiving numbers for ETN into 2023 because it was essentially his rookie year. And even if you're good at pass protection, not good at pass protection, your first year in the NFL, you're capped off at about 30 receptions as a rookie as you learn pass protection for your system specifically. It takes some time. So we don't know for sure if ETN's capped off at 35 receptions like he was last year and 0 TDs. He could very much have the touchdown production that Tony Pollard looked at last year, 9 and 3. And if ETN got 9 and 3, and let's say he got 45 receptions, had a very down receiving year again, in our context of down, because he's capable of 70, 80 receptions. He is. ETN's totally capable. Both these guys could have 60 plus, 65 plus receptions in 2023. We don't know what their ceiling is. Anybody coming in and saying Pollard's not going to do this or ETN can't do this, he doesn't get enough receiving work. We don't know. We don't know because their offenses aren't predictable from that perspective because they're both so young and they both didn't have the full-time job last year. We don't know what the workload situation and divide is going to be. We have no clue. We can only project and guess. But if you look at Pollard's stat line and you say, okay, this guy averaged 5.2 yards per carry, absolute monster, ripping him off. And let's say he gets 220, 225. You don't want him getting 290. I just explained it. I just explained it with ETN. These are hybrid workhorses. You want them fresh. This is why Zeke staying would have been a problem. You want 220 to 225, 240 at the max. 240 would be perfect. But 225 would be perfect too. You give him 225, okay? 225 attempts, 225 times 5 point, what did he average? 5.2. Let's give him 5.2 again. Let's not short this man. That is 1170. He goes from 1,007 to 1170 if you give him 220 to 225 totes of the rock. And that touchdown total, let's just say it doesn't even improve. Let's call it 9 to 10. Let's say he gets 65 receptions or at least 55 in 2023. That's not even a huge bump. And if he gets 3 touchdowns, look, this is a top 5 overall running back. This is a top 7 or 8 overall pick. I just gave you a blueprint to getting a top 8 overall player in both of these guys in the 3rd round. Both of these guys have top 8 overall upside. Now, if you go out there, and you're a non-listening whoever, a non-listening Nick, okay? You go out there and you draft these two gentlemen in round 1 because I said they're top 8 overall picks at the end of the year potentially. You aren't listening or paying attention. You're going to get nobody.
Got him.
Because you aren't taking advantage of it. You're just getting excited, knee-jerk reaction. Smitty likes these guys, top 5, drafting them in round 1. And then you come into my live stream in August and you say, Smitty, you better be right about ETN and Pollard. I traded up to the 10 and 11 back-to-back. 2 first-round picks. I took Pollard and ETN. You better be right, Smitty. I'm going to tell you, hey, congratulations. Guess what you're doing? You win leagues in the 3rd round with ETN. You win leagues in the 3rd round with Tony Pollard. And both of these guys are looking at 1,100 yards in 2023. They're both looking at 7 to 10 touchdowns on the ground. Let's call it 7. Let's call it 9 each. 9 touchdowns each on the ground. Let's just say Pollard doesn't improve. You're looking at 55 to 65, capable of 70 or 80 if the team understands what time it is. But let's just say 65 receptions each, 62 to 65, 500 receiving yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns. They're both top 5 to 7 running back monsters. Get some 2023. Let's go.
You've just been Smitty approved.
My final decision on which one of these players I like better. I don't know that I can do it. I don't know that I can do it. They feel so even to me. Side by side, I want one in one league and one in the other. If I'm drafting at 3.5 in 2 separate leagues, 3.2 in 2 separate leagues, I want Pollard in one draft. I want ETN in the other. The truth of the matter is, if I had 2 identical drafts and the 3rd round pick was on the clock and the teams were the same build and I had ETN and Pollard, I couldn't make one of them. I couldn't double pick. I'd have to divide it. I'd have to. But let's say I had one draft. I'm going to put myself to the test right now. Let's say I had one draft. One draft. Not 2 side-by-side drafts. One draft. I was only allowed. Let's say Miss Smitty had a ball and chain on this man, and I was allowed to play in one league. Some of you out there have that situation, and you're only allowed to play in one league. I've been capped, Smitty. Smitty, the missus said I could have one league. Do you have a way I can play under the table in another league? Yeah, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. You can play in as many drafts as you want. They'll match up to $100 on your first deposit using promo code Smitty. Promo code Smitty. That's the ticket. That's the ticket, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? That's the ticket. Make sure you use promo code Smitty. Okay, back to where I was. Where was I? If I had one league. God, this is tough. We haven't even talked about the red flags yet for Tony Pollard. So before I move on, and then we're going to open the phone lines. McCarthy. Changing the offense. There's concern there. Not recognizing his ability to be the number 1, number 2, or number 3 pass-catching running back in the National Football League. I didn't stutter. You heard me correct. He could be the number 1, number 2, or number 3 overall receiving back in the National Football League if they throw to him. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. Like, we have red flags here. There's a reason he's going in the 3rd round, Bob. There's a reason. I want to hear over ETN, but there's concern. Of course there's concern, or you wouldn't be stealing him away in the 3rd round. Pay attention. The concerns, the similar level of risk over on the Pollard side of the fence, not getting receptions. That's the concern. The committee, that's the concern. The same concern here is, or a similar concern is that, who do they bring in? Some people say they're drafting Bijan. I don't think they will. Some people say that if they don't bring in Bijan, they're still going to draft a Charbonnet. There's a concern. Some people say they'll bring in Kareem Hunt. There's a concern. They want to bring in more running backs too. What if they bring in Kareem Hunt over there? Similar risk level of either team drafting an RB like Tank Bigsby or Sean Tucker. So we kind of have the same risk. The only thing is this job opening for Zeke is more obviously open than okay, we could bring in another back, but who's it going to be? You know, they traded away James Robinson during the season. They clearly trust this guy. They do. They clearly do. Not to mention T-Law has something to say about what's going on. And T-Law and ETN played together in college. The rapport is irreplaceable. McCarthy calling plays. Moore's no longer calling plays. They want to run the damn ball, is what McCarthy said. So I'm excited about Tony Pollard being in an offense where they want to run the damn ball. I also understand he's not running 300 times. That will break him. He's not that kind of back. He's a bigger running back than people give him credit for. He's 6 foot, 215. Okay? I'm 200 and God, I hope I didn't climb back up to 218. I'm at the same weight, 215. I'm the same weight as Tony Pollard. I'm 6'2". He's 6 foot. Okay? I'm 6 foot 2, 215 pounds.
Mashed potatoes!
What's going on here? What's going on here? Why don't I have a camera shot here? There, okay. I'm 6 foot 2, 220 pounds. You know, granted I could be a little more cut. I'm working on that. Okay, don't judge. But I'm a pretty big dude. Like, he is shorter than me, the exact same weight. This is a 215 pound 6 foot man. He is a big man. I don't want to hear he's not a big dude. He's a big dude. He's a big dude. He's not the biggest running back known to man. I'm not saying that. But when you're the same weight as me and you're 2 inches shorter, you're a pretty big dude. But this guy is a workhorse type running back, hybrid workhorse type running back, like Kamara, like ETN. I don't know. The red flags are new offense. The red flags are, what if it doesn't work? What if they changed what's been working? Pollard was totally potent in the old system. There's a chance that the offense falls flat. There's risk there. But what I do know is when Pollard is on the field, when ETN is on the field, they're electric. And push comes to shove, I'm going to say get them both, but I'm going to make my final decision.
Which side would you rather have?
I'm going to go Tony Pollard, but it's a very, very close call. Dial into the phone line. Let's go.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
We had this earlier to discuss Mac Jones potentially. Is he on the outs? They're looking to trade him in New England, which is crazy. They're looking to trade this guy, Mac Jones. They've been trying to trade him. I understand it and I agree with it, but it's a crazy turn of events. But yeah, let's talk about these guys right here. We also haven't done the Lamb and Olave, which we could do, but I want to know which one you're selecting. I want to know who's your guy. Is it Pollard? Is it ETN? Dial into the show. Your boy Smitty wants to know. So dial that phone number now, and let's have a conversation. Okay, phone number. Let's see if I have the phone line. Let me grab that phone line real quickly. We got this caller here. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
This is D Philly.
D Philly. What's up, D Philly?
D Philly in the house, bro. You got to go ETN. Come on, man. Pollard's coming off that injury. Pollard has a new offensive coordinator. What else do you need to know that ETN is about to hit the moon, baby?
Well, I just got through saying the same thing, but doesn't mean.
I understand.
But doesn't mean that these guys aren't both hitting the moon at the same time. Like, I mean, I just mapped out the reasons why both of them could be absolute fire. I don't think you can take away from the Pollard production he had. I don't think the injury's not an ACL or an Achilles or a broken hip wall, bro. It's a fractured fibula. Like that's something.
You see how easy he went down on that injury.
Yeah, come on, man. That was a freak injury. Pollard isn't susceptible to broken fibulas. Like, that's not.
What year is Pollard in?
Well, Pollard is in his. He's played 4 seasons.
So he's going into his 5th year.
That doesn't, bro. He's 25 years old. He's 25 years old with low mileage. Would I be concerned at 28, 3 years from now? Sure, but you can't worry too much about when we're talking 2023. You can't worry too much about guys. Hold on one second. D Philly, call back in. For some reason, your line's not letting me accept everybody else's phone calls. Call right back in, D Philly. I want you back on the line. Dial in Bruce. Dial in Steven. Dial in. Corey, dial in Flounder. I saw all your calls, but for some reason, D Philly's phone line, he's calling him from a payphone or something, and it won't let me add everybody onto the call. We got to add D Philly in. So D Philly, insert 25 more cents in a minute. Hey, D Philly, hold on a second. Call back in after I get more people on the line. He's doing it already. Dial in Bruce. Dial in Steven. Dial in Corey. Dial in Flounder. I'm going to reject D Philly's call because he's dialing in too early. Okay, now D Philly, dial in. Corey, what's up? You're live. Who do you got? Tony Pollard, ETN. Quick.
Ultimately, I'm going to go Pollard, but I've got a little caveat for you.
Yeah, I mean, you got to, bro. If you're using your brain, you can't just be like, Pollard. You're struggling. I'm struggling, bro. I don't even know if I want to pick one. I don't. I honestly didn't want to. I feel forced. I feel like I was forced, but go ahead. Give me your caveat.
My caveat is hopefully I don't have to pick between the two, but
yeah.
Hopefully I've got someone, at least one guy better, and maybe on the off chance 2 guys better, but at least one guy I want better than these 2.
Who?
Well, I mean, like Taylor, McCaffrey, whoever you want. I don't want one of these guys as my one because there's still some risk with both of them. Peterson, ETN. Peterson likes to share. You talked about ETN not catching the ball. You talked about what's his name, the new coach for Dallas, or not the new coach, but the coach for Dallas, who I can't stand. And then I
McCarthy.
Yeah, McCarthy's calling plays. They're like I mapped that concern out. There's almost similar. I'll let you finish in 1 second. Sorry. There's almost similar risks and upsides, really. Like if you say you're worried about workload for Pollard and changing offense, you got to almost be worried about the fact that the Jaguars, Peterson said we want to bring in more running backs, and they're a committee. They're a committee at the core with how they deploy the running back. So there's equal parts risk on both sides. But I hear you. I just mapped all that out, and I agree with you. I struggled because there are red flags for both, but there's also just top 5 running back upside for both these guys. But I appreciate any angle on this. But keep going.
But don't you think? I think that both teams are bringing somebody in, whoever that may be, to the draft or Cream Hunt or whoever. But so that's my concerns with both of them.
Yeah. At the risk of Steven interrupting everybody, Steven, you're gonna be on a real short leash on this panel, Steven, because I've got so many people on the line. I have a feeling you're gonna try and dominate the conversation, which is fine in a short burst. So you might be headed to timeout immediately. I can already smell it. But Steven, what is your thoughts here?
I like ETN. He's younger, and defensively, the AFC South is weaker. The Giants got a pretty stout defense. The Eagles. So that's just where I would lean on it.
Yeah, I mean, I love both of them. Like every time someone says, "I want ETN," like Steven comes in and says, "Yeah, I want ETN, Smitty. I want ETN. ETN's absolute." That sounds just like you, bro. I absolutely love ETN. ETN's a monster. I'm sitting there going, I agree with 100% what he's saying. And then the next person comes in, and they say, "Oh, Tony Pollard's got a top 5 season." It's like whichever way you turn, these are 2 amazing top 5 monsters in the 3rd round. Let's go over real quickly. Hang tight, Steven. Let's go over to Corey. Corey? Which one, Corey?
Yep.
Which one?
Well, I already said Pollard.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you chose, right, Pollard?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, Corey. Hang tight. Bruce, quick answer, Bruce. Pollard or ETN? ETN or Pollard? Who you like?
Pollard.
He says Pollard. Why? Why, Bruce?
Which side would you rather have?
He's a little bit bigger and stronger than ETN, and I think he can fit in between the tackles better than ETN. And with contact, I think Pollard's better than ETN.
You know what I've seen two or three times in the chat, which is inaccurate, that ETN's bigger. He's not bigger. He's 205 to 208 pounds. He's 5 foot, I believe. Is he 5'10"? He's 5'10". Pollard is 6 foot 215. So stop with the misdirection. Yeah,
negligible.
Yeah, but Pollard is bigger. I'm just saying what people say, and I'm not saying you, Bruce. You said it correctly. But people in the chat have said occasionally, I don't know who, but there's been a couple times that Pollard's smaller. He's not. He's actually big. I'm 215. I'm 6'2". I'm trying to drop LBs. I feel like I'm so big. I'm trying to drop LBs. I'm trying to get to 199, so I'm a fit, slender, specimen. At 199, 205, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm not skinny at all. But right now, I'm kind of a blob. I feel like I'm wearing a meat suit that's about 10 pounds overweight. And I'm 215 and I'm 6'2". This guy is shorter than me by 2 inches, and he's the same weight. And he's cut up. I don't want to hear Pollard's small. That's a ridiculous point. Not that any of you on the phone have said it.
Here's the only thing I will give ETN over Pollard, and I might be wrong, and you might have to correct me, but I think ETN's a better pass catcher.
Look, here's the problem. Here's the rub. Is even if you're correct, I'm not saying you're correct or wrong. They're both amazing. Will Pollard be used more than ETN? That's the thing we're waiting on. The reason ETN isn't a first-round pick right this very second. The reason why Steven doesn't have to spend a top 10 overall pick on ETN and he gets to steal him away in the third round, the reason is this team hasn't utilized him yet. But as I argued earlier, it was kind of like his rookie year. He didn't play a single snap his rookie season. So his sophomore year, he was getting used to pass protecting. They were changing it up from the Urban Meyer season anyway. So it was like a brand new year. They're trying to protect T-Law, and so ETN might get deployed a lot more in the receiving game. He's a top 5 wide receiver, receiving back in the National Football League. Pollard's probably top 4 to 6, 4 to 7 capable. ETN's probably top 4 to 6 capable. Like, to me, there's an overlap. ETN's 4 to 6, Pollard's or 4 to 5, ETN's 4 to 6. Like a little bit more likelihood that this guy's a better receiving back if he's deployed properly, but this guy's right behind him. But I like that point. Bruce. Let's go over to D Philly. I'm sorry, I forget what you said. Who you liking, ETN or you liking Pollard?
Which side would you rather have?
I mean, if I had to choose, I'd choose ETN just because I live in Florida and I'm a big Jags fan. And
that's not a good
Lawrence
reason.
Fan.
That's not a good reason, bro. What objectively?
That's a reason for me.
Well,
that's a good reason as any, man. I'm in your corner.
Yeah, Steven
no,
says
that's
you got
okay.
Steven.
I'll tell you the real reason.
You got season tickets.
I'll tell you the real reason from D Philly right now. You ready?
Yeah.
The real reason I like ETN, Smitty,
is I got season tickets. That's why. I'm waiting, bro. The real reason you went silent.
Okay, well,
he is
because
Travis ETN.
I was listening to what I said before.
Oh. So what's the real reason? We're all waiting on pins and needles, bro.
Okay, here we go. ETN will have at least 60 catches, 500 yards plus receiving, 5 touchdowns, 1,100 yards on the ground, 225 carries.
Is he repeating what I just said earlier? That's exact, bro. You're watching the show. You were watching. That's exact prediction. I think almost to a T of what I projected for him. I agree with you.
I always watch the show.
Yeah, I could tell. But the question is, could this guy do exactly that? And he already proved touchdown wise, he's where he needs to be. 9 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving, in an environment where he's not getting a ton of value or a ton of carries in the like goal line and red zone. He doesn't have a lot of value. He didn't have a lot of value there last year. He made his own bed. This guy made his own bed with his touchdowns. ETN was unlucky with his. So it's like, I love both of them, bro. I get so excited. You could say, somebody could come in and say ETN by a mile, and I'm like, somebody could come in and say Pollard by a mile, and it doesn't matter. I love both these guys. And I don't know who was watching earlier. Hopefully all of you were doing your homework with me here. But look at this right here. Look at my strategy, my blueprint to absolutely smash your league. Jamar Chase at pick 1, let's say. You trade your second rounder down to this pick here. You take ETN here. You draft Pollard with your original 3.1. You take Christian Watson with your original 4.12. You trade your 5th rounder into this place, this location. You draft Burrow. Tell me, if you're on the call right now, tell me so I can hang up on you immediately. Tell me who on this call doesn't think you could win with Chase, Pollard, ETN, Burrow, and Christian Watson with your first 5 players. Who?
That's a good blueprint, Smitty. No objection.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to peanut butter and waivers real quick. Steven, I heard you groveling back there. Were you going to say something?
Well, I don't grovel, but I'm just saying, no, I wouldn't disagree with it. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, okay, acceptable. Peanut butter and waivers, you're live. Who do you like, young man? Do you like Tony Pollard? Do you like Travis Etienne? Give us your pick.
Which side would you rather have?
I'm in the ETN camp. I feel like Dallas's O-line, the theme of the last 10 years of
Ziggy,
them
show me the front door.
having this line,
okay,
that's going away. And even if the Cowboys want to run more, I don't know how efficient that's going to be. That's all I got to go. I got to go. Have a good day.
Off. You got to go.
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah, I got to go to work. I got to go.
Okay, later, peanut butter and waivers. Later. Appreciate you.
Smitty, I got a question for you, buddy.
Yeah. Who's talking? Who's got a question? Who's got a question? Who said?
D. Philly with a question.
Okay, let's.
Hey, I've been waiting.
Who says I've been waiting?
D. Philly's got a question.
Who said it? Hold on, guys. It's my show. Hold on. Who said I've been waiting? Flounder. You've earned the right to hold one more time. Hold on. Go ahead, Corey.
I'm out. Later, bro.
Go ahead. Go. Let's go.
All right, Flounder, go ahead. I'm just kidding. Flounder hung up. Flounder, get thicker. Flounder, get thicker skin than that. I was just joking, bro. God, Flounder is so sensitive. Who? D. Philly?
Yeah.
Okay, D. Philly, go. Well, Flounder his chance away. I was
keeper.
just joking with him, and he hangs up. He's like, later. I'm out of here.
Yeah, he'll call back.
Yeah, he'll call
He'll
back.
call back. Quit being a wuss.
Flounder, crawl back over here. D. Philly, go ahead.
Okay, Smitty.
Yeah.
Okay, Smitty, I'm in a 10-man half PPR league. Friends and family. Very competitive.
10-man.
Okay?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have
Hold on. Hold on a second, D. Philly. 10-man competitive? Those words have never been used together in my entire life. You're in a 10-man league. You're playing with 3 or 4 grandmas guaranteed. No veterans play in a 10-man league, D. Philly. But go ahead. Tell me about this grandma league.
We've been in this league for 11 years. Last year, 2 of the guys dropped out, so we dropped it down to 10. It was 12 for 10 years. Last year, it was only 10.
Okay. Maybe you play in a
We
small
couldn't find
town.
it.
Go ahead.
No, we're all over the U.S. Michigan, New Hampshire,
nationwide. Okay, go ahead, D. Philly. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm being rude. Go ahead.
So I have 6 players to choose. I have 2 keepers, or I could not keep anybody. I won the league last year, so I get the 10th pick in the first round, 10th pick in the second round, and then, of course, in the third, I would get 30 and 31 for the 3-4 term, correct?
Okay.
Okay, so here's my 6 players. I have to choose 2 keepers or don't keep anybody, and I throw all 6 back. Here
Gotcha.
they are. I have Eckler, Barkley, Stevenson, ETN, Hall, and Ceedee Lamb.
Okay, so you got
That's why I won the league.
Now, if you keep any of these guys, are there different costs of keeping them, different rounds, or is it your first, second round pick?
First and second round.
Okay,
first
so
and second.
this
We're
is
on that stupid ESPN.
Yeah, this is an easy decision in general in terms of you ask yourself, can you redraft these guys, or are they going to get scooped up? Are they first round picks? Eckler's tough because for half of a year I'm on board, but he's somebody I want to trade. I'm probably keeping Barkley for sure. I don't think you're going to be able to retain. Like, everyone's going to keep really good players. So Barkley's technically speaking, a first round potential player. I probably, if it's me, you don't have any wide receivers to keep besides Ceedee.
Lamb.
Yeah, I said besides Ceedee. I probably go either Lamb and Barkley, or Barkley and ETN, or Barkley and Hall. I'd probably go Hall.
That's where I'm leaning.
Probably go Hall and Barkley, or Ceedee, Lamb, and Barkley.
I'm leaning Hall and Barkley because that'd be my 20th pick, and he's going in the low 20s, mid 20s.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll be able to get him. I don't think I'll be able to get him at 30.
Flounder, you calling back in or what, bro? We're waiting. Is there any way you could go to a team and say, hey, I'll give you, Eckler, and you trade me second and third round picks? You just move my third rounder into round 2, or you move my second rounder into round 1. Because, bro, we
talked about doing that. We talked about doing that, but we wanted to stay on my brother likes the ESPN. We've been on it for 11 years, and he likes that format. And he's not willing to change over to Sleeper or some of them other formats. And you can't do that.
It's a veteran league.
It's just too hard for ESPN to do that kind of stuff.
It's a veteran league. We play on ESPN.
Just kidding. Let's see what the chat thinks. What do you think, chat? Are we going with Barkley and Ceedee? Barkley and Ceedee, or Eckler and Barkley? Or Ceedee and Barkley? Hall and bro, you can't go wrong here. The only guy I don't keep is Stevenson, not because I don't love him, but because he feels like the most likely to be drafted back. But bro, you can't go wrong with this. I pick Barkley over Eckler, and then I kind of lean. I like ETN, but part of me thinks you're going to draft him back a little easier than you're drafting Ceedee Lamb. Ceedee Lamb's going in round 2, sometimes round 1. So I wonder if you could trade. Ceedee Lamb's got more trade value later. But good God, that's, you could also do one of those under the table trades, bro, where you go to somebody and you say, I'll give you Ceedee Lamb after the draft. You let me have your second and third round picks. I'll give you Ceedee Lamb after the draft. Like, do something crazy like that, bro, or Eckler. The only problem is you could get screwed out of that. But yeah, I think a majority of everybody's going to say Barkley and Ceedee Lamb. And I think that's ultimately the right decision, because you could get ETN back, you could get Hall back, not both of them, but you could draft one of them back. Eckler's not bad. I just don't trust him for the whole year, and I want to draft Barkley over Eckler.
Here's the other scenario, Smitty. Listen to this. I don't take anybody. I got the 10th pick. My little brother, you can keep these players for 3 years. My little brother had JT. Are you into JT at pick 10?
New info. I do like JT.
I don't draft anybody.
You don't draft anybody, you get JT for sure?
Well, I get the 10th pick, and usually everybody at least keeps one of their players.
I think I still like Barkley more than JT. I like JT a lot as a value, but Barkley's borderline first round material for me, and JT's I like him in round 2. But I think I'd rather have Barkley. Bro.
So if I go Barkley CD, I have running back 1 and I have wide receiver 1 locked down. I could go 30 and 31. I could go ETN or Hall if he's still there.
Yep.
And Burrow.
Yep. Yeah. Real quickly, hang tight. Flounder, you're live.
Hey. Just was putting up a Dyson mountable for my wife's vacuum, so that's why I had to go.
Oh, okay. Sure.
That's hilarious, Flounder.
Yeah, Flounder's the only guy that would come in and admit that his wife just completely took him off the phone line for a Dyson vacuum versus admitting that he got mad.
Hey, look, you happy wife, happy life, bro.
True.
I understand that. We all deal with that. That's just common sense.
Yeah, Steven here. Happy wife, happy life.
I got 4
Steven,
kids,
over
and
now.
Right now, it's supposed to be my happy hour. You know what I mean?
All right, Flounder. What is? You already said Pollard, right?
So yeah, I like your take on ETN. Is this the change of the guard, Smitty? I do try to jump in every chance I get to listen to your content. Have you talked about the change of the guard and the fact that there's like 12 running backs that are aging out at this point in time? And that I think I would go Pollard because I like Dallas better as an organization, as a team, offense. Worry about his ankle. But I do go Pollard over ETN, but ETN's close. Like you said, I mean, either or.
Have I talked?
But I would go Pollard.
Hold on one second, Flounder. I'm only tough on you because I think you could take it. Okay, but have I talked about the changing of the guard? I invented the changing of the guard. That's my coined take. Like, so of course I've talked about it. Like you're speaking of it like you heard it somewhere else and you're coming in, and I was just saying like that's my phrase. Yeah, okay.
I'm an OG too. I've been playing fantasy for over 20 years. I'm an OG as well. Okay. I don't. I just want to.
I just want to give I'm going to cite properly and give myself credit. Okay.
Sure.
But yes, sure. Changing of the guard. Both of these guys are changing of the guard, Flounder. Both of them are in the mix for the reason we're saying get out of Cook, get out of Chubb, get out of Eckler, get out of Derrick Henry. Changing of the guard is these two gentlemen that are staring you right in the face right now as you hook and connect up your Dyson vacuum, because these guys are going to vacuum too, Flounder. They're going to vacuum touchdowns and receptions is what they're going to do, both of them, and their third-round steals in redraft. And I don't know, dynasty-wise, if they go a little bit higher than that. Sure. Like, we don't really have great dynasty ADP. You get people that come in here and be like, your dynasty ADP, you just suggested wrong. We don't know what the real dynasty ADP is until we get a whole bunch more drafts. Underdog doesn't do dynasty best ball, so I only trust Underdog ADP. We only talk about Underdog ADP here. They're a sponsor of the show. That's the only one we discuss. It's the only one we use, and it's paid leagues, and it's absolutely accurate and phenomenal. We don't have good Dynasty ADP yet, and I don't care if there's any that exists out there. I don't find it accurate because it's built off faulty mock drafting. I abandoned the draft at round 4, and then the computer finishes drafting, just piling on bad ADP on bad ADP.
Yeah.
But like,
you don't like crowdsourcing?
I do, but I can create a better.
Like keep trade cut.
What?
Do you like crowdsourcing, like keep trade cut? The app.
No.
Smitty, just a quick question. Why are you out on Nick Chubb? He came in the same time Pollard did. The dude's a beast. I don't understand why you'd be out on him already.
So, but I've made it pretty clear at the beginning of the show that I'm in for half a season. I'm only hey, trade him by week 8 or 9 because this guy's had massive knee concerns for quite some time. His workload is quite heavy. He had a heavy workload. Granted, there's guys that have way more carries like Henry, but this guy had the most gruesome knee injury in college football history. His knee, not only it was an exact right angle the other direction, tore everything in it, and even though he survived and recovered, that trauma to the knee makes it to where you're going to have breakdown in the knee quicker and as fast as like Todd Gurley did, quicker than anybody else. And so it's more about jumping a year early where I could be wrong, but the changing of the guard is definitely happening with those players. All of those players are going to, not every one of them, one or two of the guys I named, Cook, Eckler, Henry, Chubb, they're all potentially, one or two could potentially slip through for one more year. I'm not saying all of them are going to drop off at once, but the odds are extremely against all of those guys, or even half of them having the same seasons. And even I consider Jacobs in the potential
Fournette,
changing of the guard too.
I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, even Jacobs I'm concerned about because I don't know that he repeats his season. I just don't think he's going to. Number one, repeating a season like that is hard, especially for a running back that kind of, I don't want to say he came out of nowhere. We've always kind of known Jacobs has been talented, but he's in a worse situation now, and he's going to see 8-man front after 8-man front. So literally, my objective is to get Bijan, get ETN, get Pollard, go get these younger running backs that cost a lot less and I'll go wide receiver heavy in round 1. I'll go Jamar, I'll go JJ, I'll go Tyreek Hill, I'll go all these guys. I'll go Bijan at the end of round 1 versus go with the older running backs that are going to be changed out for the younger crew. But Steven, to answer your question, Chubb was, I just went over his stats, was an absolute monster at the beginning of the year last year. But he scored 2 touchdowns in I think the final 6-7 games and just wasn't as productive. Now, that doesn't, yards per carry were kind of there, so it's not like all on him. But at some point, Chubb's going to break down, and I just don't want to be holding the bag, Steven. That's what it really comes down to. Could he have one more year? Sure. But, bro, the dude's knee got mangled. His decline is going to happen rapidly. He's not going to be somebody that lingers for 4 or 5 years like a Frank Gore did, you know? Those running backs are gone. There's no more Frank Gores in the NFL. But, like, could I see Barkley doing that kind of? Yeah, Barkley feels like a guy that once his decline happens, he'll hang around for like 2 years, you know. Chubb's going to just hit a wall. And I just don't want to be holding the bag. I could be a year early. I run the risk of that. But am I really wrong, Steven? If Chubb goes out and has a good year and he's worth in hindsight, the 11 overall pick, am I wrong? Not really, because I'm taking a guy I just deem is safer. It's not like I'm saying avoid Chubb if he falls into your lap in round 2. It's more like give me Bijan. You know, give me Bijan.
Like that. But as far as a redraft league, I think like if the offense is going to get better, it can't get any worse than it was last year. And I think that the touchdowns are going to come. You can't predict those, but there'll be more opportunities if the offense is better. I believe it will be, and I think if you can get Chubb later, I think it'll be a steal.
Yeah, look,
I still like it a lot.
Look, Steven, in redraft, if he falls to like 3.1, and he's fallen to the 3rd round in best ball drafts. It's crazy. I don't mind Chubb in the 3rd round. We're talking redraft, I'm fine with it. Dynasty, no way. I'm not going near him. But in redraft, 3rd drafted running back, no problem. I was in a draft last night, and it froze. I was trying out the late quarterback approach in Superflex, and the underdog app froze. Well, it was my internet connection. My internet connection froze, and it just sat there on 0 seconds, about 2 picks before me. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I looked down, and all of a sudden it went and just filled in once my connection got reestablished, and it drafted Nick Chubb in the 3rd round when I was trying to go quarterback. Or I think it was 4th round. And I was like looking at it, I'm like, I don't mind it. It looked pretty good. But I did end up getting screwed at quarterback in this draft that I tried last night. But Chubb is a value in redraft. He is. But is he also a big red flag and risk to hold all year long? I do believe yes. Is he a potential to have one more year and I'd be wrong and be a year early? Absolutely. But I'd rather be safer if I can. I'd rather take Bijan. I'd rather take Barkley up front than worry about having Nick Chubb and when I can trade him. Can I get enough? I'd rather just take the better player, you know? I'd rather just take the better player. But Chubb in the 3rd round, if he falls in redraft, him and Henry, Eckler in round 2, Henry in round 3. Henry's been falling to round 3. I've drafted Henry in a couple of mock drafts, believe it or not. And in the 3rd round, I don't really hate it. In best ball, I don't hate it at all. But I certainly expect a drop off at some point. I'm planning for that. And baked in, 3rd round value is kind of baked in for that. Hang tight. Let's go to just hang tight for me. Let's go over to who else we got here? We've got
I got a 2-part question.
Hold on one second. Let me get everybody involved here. Steven from Massachusetts, and then who said that? Who just said I got a question? Corey. Okay, I'll come back to you, Corey, right after this. Steven from Massachusetts, you're up. What can I do for you?
What's going on, my man? I just wanted you. I missed the live stream earlier when you were talking about the whole Mac Jones stuff. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Well, I guess it's almost like you're gonna have to like kind of like repeat yourself.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell.
I saw that they wanted to trade him, and I mean, as a Patriots fan, I would like them to get Lamar, but I don't know. I kind of am hesitant about that because with Bill Belichick's track record, it doesn't really seem like that's something that he would do they will bring in a guy like that and then to pay him that kind of money.
Well, he did
I
have.
could be wrong.
He did have Cam Newton. He's had a similar quarterback before, but yeah, I talked about this earlier. In a nutshell, I won't go over it in too much detail, but in a nutshell, the Patriots have been reportedly shopping Mac Jones not to one team, not to two teams. I don't think this report's fictitious because there's like 6 teams listed. There's the Raiders, there's the Washington Commanders. It's a boatload of teams, and they've all been talked to. And they're trying to get out because reportedly Bill's tired of this guy's whining and complaining and cries more than Kyler Murray. And so Zappy's either, potentially going to start week 1 if I had to guess or be in there at some point. If not, Lamar Jackson is the objective from an owner that said it's up to Bill Belichick. And Bill maybe doesn't have a ton of time left. So maybe he's saying, give me the veteran. And Bill Belichick, who's drafting at number 14 overall, won't want to surrender this 14 overall pick. Who would? When you can just wait until after the draft in coy fashion, take Jackson Smith and Jigba, take Quentin Johnston, take Addison. Give me Jordan Addison right here. Give me somebody like that with this 14 overall pick, and then go sign Lamar to an offer sheet that surrenders the number the 2024 first rounder and 2025 first rounder without giving up the 2023 14 overall pick. So I think Lamar to New England is a very decent scenario, but I think Indianapolis is still a little bit more likely.
I need water.
You need water? Who is that?
Oh, I don't know.
Who needs water?
Get that man some water.
Who needs water? Get him water.
Well, how much minutes is left? I started it once over.
He started it. Give him the water.
How much minutes is left?
Get him some meatloaf.
Okay, an hour and 24.
An hour?
I did other stuff. I sat on the plate for 15.
15 minutes without meatloaf? 15 minutes?
Beer. What the hell?
Get the man some meatloaf and water.
Get that man some milk.
Get that man a tall glass of milk.
No. Huh?
Who is that, by the way?
I'm talking on the phone to these guys.
Yeah, he's
My
talking to
wife's
these
getting on
a-holes
to
on
me.
the
My wife's getting on to me, Smitty.
Who is this? Whose wife's getting on to him? Who's that?
Hey, do me a favor. Go hang a dice and you'll be good to go.
Hold on. Who has said their wife's
Philly.
getting on? Oh, D Philly. D Philly. Tell your wife she's an angel.
Smitty says you're an angel, baby. We love you.
You better go and do what she needs you to do.
To put up with this
I'll
man.
leave it as that.
Now get him some water.
I'm sitting in the sauna, sweating my ass off.
Get him some water. Get that meatloaf going. Okay. So anyway, D Philly, what do you got?
Nothing, man. I was just telling my wife what's going on. I've been in the sauna for an hour and a half talking to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sweating right into the phone line. I like it. Next thing you know, you're gonna fall asleep on the
Sweating
phone
out the
line.
toxins.
Yeah. Hold on, D Philly. Corey, you wanted to say something? Go. Hopefully, you got a glass of water.
So-
Go ahead. You're up.
Going back to Pollard and ETN, which team has the best offense and which team has the most red zone attempts?
Let's see here. I think because of McCarthy, the unknowns with McCarthy taking over play calling, I'm going to lean toward this team coming out of 2023 with momentum without any major changes. There's a little obscurity here, and that's why I sometimes find myself leaning ETN when I say to myself,
Which side would you rather have?
sometimes I think maybe I need to go ETN. Maybe who's making all that noise?
You. I had to get ice.
Who says they had to get ice now?
Philly.
D Philly, you make the most sounds I've ever heard in my life. You're arguing in the background. You're getting ice out of the machine. You're in a sauna.
And Flounder gets the bad rap. Can you believe it, Smitty?
I'm sorry. What? Who said that?
And Flounder gets the bad rap. Can you believe it, Smitty?
Flounder, you've earned your bad rap, but we appreciate you in your own way. Okay, you continue being you.
One argument.
But real quickly, ETN. I think ETN answered the question. ETN's got the better offense right now. Until we see what McCarthy's going to deploy, we have no idea what McCarthy's offense is going to look like. Like, as much as we're excited about Pollard, we have to factor in that this Jaguar team finished phenomenally. This Jaguar team's getting back Calvin Ridley, and T. Law came into his own.
Cowboys / Schultz.
What?
I said they got Ridley and Cowboys / Schultz, so.
Oh yeah. Losing Schultz is a hit. Losing Moore could be a hit. Might not be. We don't really know. But I just think Dallas is a little bit of an unknown. A little bit of potential chaos. You know, that makes me want to go. That almost makes me want to go ETN when I start arguing it that way. You know, it's like there's a lot more consistency likely headed in the direction of the Jaguars offense than the Cowboys. But what if the Cowboys look phenomenal with the way they deploy it? As for the question about who's the number one tight end, is it Hendershot? Is it Ferguson? I don't even know. Sean McKeon or whatever his name is. I don't even know. Maybe they got to bring in somebody. Maybe they draft somebody.
Motion detected at the front door.
Ziggy, show me the front door. Maybe they bring in like this Darnell Washington 6'7" monster, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh god, this team's going to be so hard to defend. Like, you know, that would be
a lot of good tight ends in the draft, dude.
Musgrave, yeah, there's 4 or 5 deep tight. Like, you could easily see them getting a tight end in like even the top of round 2 or wherever if they trade up.
I'll tell you, isn't Dalton Schultz still floating around out there? That'd be a great landing spot for him.
Houston.
Nope. Yeah, he's in Houston. He's catching footballs.
Houston picked him up? Okay.
Yeah, he's catching footballs from a rookie quarterback in 2023. So, ETN and Pollard will both finish outside of the top 10. Watch your mouth, Cage. Watch your mouth, Cage.
Call in, Cage. We got to hear from you.
Yeah, Cage, you never call in. You come in here and you say these bold takes. Both ETN and Pollard are going to finish outside the top 10. You came in here and said one would you were going to get the take a lap button. You come in here and you say 2, you're getting Breece.
Get Breece.
Cage, dial in. The phone line's wide open for you. Let's go to...
you ready to take a lap?
Yeah, let's go to the Bruce real quick. Bruce.
Hey, Smitty, if you had to pick between Drake London and Christian Watson, who would you lean towards?
Drake London.
Let's go ahead and put that on screen here, and let's have this little debate. So Watson and London. So my answer, and then I'll go around the panel and get answers. But if I'm going off of like talent, without any risk of situation and all that, I mean London might have a slight edge based on like pure talent alone. But this guy Watson he's like an unsculpted, putty that we still don't know what his ceiling is going to be. Whereas we kind of know where London's ceiling is. He could be a top 6 to 10 wide receiver. He really could. He's that good, but he doesn't have a good quarterback situation. He has an okay quarterback situation. Maybe Ritter proves a lot of people wrong like me. I think he's competent enough. Like people say, why do you like London and Pitts this year, Smitty? They have no quarterback. Does anybody realize that Ritter didn't play until like later on in the year? And when he did play, London did very well. Like, it's so funny. People like to tie last year's Mariota-driven squad and offense and talk about London doing nothing. Like, London had a good finish. Watson, though, has Jordan Love. Watson has a little bit better situation. I believe Watson's a little Deebo Samuel. I really do. I think this guy could run for 250, 300 yards on the ground, 2 to 3 rushing touchdowns, on top of having his 1,200, 1,300 yards and 7 to 10 scores. I really think Watson could be a double-digit touchdown guy with 250 on the ground, 200 at least on the ground rushing. This is a little mini Deebo Samuel. He really is. He's so talented. Like, raw talent, maybe Watson. Football talent that you can measure, London's probably a little more advanced, but it doesn't mean Watson wasn't fast-tracked right behind him, and who knows which one. If I had to pick, I mean, Watson's ADP's in round 4, London's is in round 5 in general in a 1 QB format. So naturally,
Which
I'm going to...
side would you rather have?
I'm going to lean Watson. Naturally, I'm going to lean Watson, but I love both of them. And to hammer home a point real quick, bro, if you're sitting there in the 2023 Best Ball Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, you're sitting there and you want to deploy some sort of late quarter or late wide receiver strategy, all you got to do is draft Watson in round 4, London in round 5, and avoid wide receiver until round 4 and 5. Like, who doesn't like Watson and London as their number 1 and number 2 wide receiver by going no wide receivers in the first 3 rounds? You can go running back, quarterback. You could go Kelsey, running back. You could literally get Walker and Hall in rounds 2 and 3 and get Watson and London in 4 and 5 and still have your first rounder. Like, that's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking because they're, for me, it's like they're both going on, I guess, semi-rookie quarterbacks. Yeah, Love's been there, but has he really started? That was my big thing.
That's my thing. It's like, who do you like better? You like Ritter? Do you like
Love?
The kid in Green Bay? I mean, it's kind of, to me, it's like flip a coin, either or.
I think Love is a much better shot at becoming something significant. I think Ritter could become, at his best, he could become a, I don't know. I don't want to use like a Goff or a Stafford in their prime, but I want to use him in like a little bit more of a questionable year for him. Like when Goff wasn't Goff, but he was pretty good. Like last year he was great. And I don't know that that's going to translate from year to year, to be honest. I think he was really, really good, almost good to great last year considering. But like the year prior, that's where I feel like Ritter is kind of at. Love could flop, but he also could be a top 7 to 10 quarterback in the National Football League. Like, or at least from a fantasy perspective, 7 to 12. Pretty big range. Maybe 8 to 12. Maybe 8 to 12. 8 to 12. Yeah, I'm not.
He should have had enough practice. He's been there for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, he learned behind one of the best of all time. Who said something? I heard somebody try and.
Smitty, I agree with you. It's Watson. It's not London. He's about the same size, and he's way more athletic than London.
Yeah, I mean, he's different. I love them both, but yeah, I mean,
better 40 times.
Watson's a 4th rounder.
Better shuttle, better cone. It's Watson.
Watson.
He's a monster.
Can I add one thing?
Philly says Watson.
Who wants to add one thing? They said. I want to add one thing. Somebody said.
Corey.
Yeah, Corey, go ahead.
I'm in the same town. I saw NDSU. I saw Watson. I saw Lance. My only worry with Watson is I think he gets dinged up early or easily, but he is fast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's some of that concern, but at the same time, he hasn't really had enough, I think, run to really identify that he's a major risk to me. But look, I called Akers one of the biggest risky, injury-prone players coming out of his rookie season, so who's to say you can't say that about a wide receiver? I respect it. But London's got a little bit lesser situation overall. But if, let's say, Lamar Jackson ended up in Atlanta, and they pretty much crapped the bed on that, and they pretty much soiled the bed on top of that, and they pretty much closed the door on Lamar going. Their disrespect has been crazy. Arthur Blank has basically said Lamar's not worth it. So I highly doubt that gets repaired or there's any kind of smoke going on there. Wouldn't that be amazing, though, if it was all a smoke screen? But unless Lamar goes there, London's capped a little bit more than Watson is, because I think Love's got at least the potential to be something really good. Not great, but good. And keep in mind, and I'm not calling Aaron Rodgers Jordan Love the next Rodgers, but keep in mind people said that about A-Rod. They said, Aaron Rodgers is not the next Brett Favre. This is ridiculous. And he ended up being the next Brett Favre. There's literally been 2 quarterbacks in Green Bay since the early 90s. And it's been Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. It's been absolutely insane. Well, I mean, everyone said that, though. I'm not saying Love is the next Aaron Rodgers, but everybody said that. Everybody said that. Everybody laughed at the idea of Aaron Rodgers filling the shoes of Brett Favre, and he absolutely filled them. And so, like, you just don't know. You never know. And Love, they're enamored with him. They like him a lot. And to be honest, I've been very clear. If, let's say, Watson wasn't fast-tracked by Aaron Rodgers last year, I think Jordan Love fails. because he doesn't have a veteran receiver and he goes out there and gets blasted. But the fact that he's being gifted a fast-track wide receiver, that Watson comes in as a third-year player to me, not a second-year player, because he's so fast-tracked by Aaron Rodgers. So, like, he's going to be the leader, one of the leaders of the team. You know, Aaron Jones getting restructured was a great move. Instead of letting him, releasing him and saving some money, they restructured him. That's good for Jordan Love. Jordan Love can dump off to him all day long. Dylan's coming into his own. This is a pretty good system and situation for Jordan Love. Like, it wouldn't shock me. I do have the Bears and Lions in a dogfight for the division, but it wouldn't shock me if everyone crawled. And when I say crawled, I mean like in a dogfight, amazing finish. Crawled to the finish line. In fact, my prediction has been that there's going to be a tie. There's going to be some sort of tiebreaker that decides the division win between the Lions and this division, the Vikings and the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. This is one of the deepest divisions in football. Not the best division, because the top team isn't going to be better than a handful of teams in the conference. But this is one of the best divisions in the conference, let alone the league, in terms of top to bottom, dogfight, 4 teams in it for the division win. Green Bay's going to be in the mix. They just probably will finish as the 4th team or 3rd team. I give it to Detroit and Chicago to be the top dogs. I predict a tiebreaker, or like it comes down to one game in week 18 or something. Let's go over. Let's go over to D Philly. What do you got?
Yes, sir. Well, the way I'm looking at the Watson deal, just like you said, the running, the sweeps on the ground is going to be the difference between him and London, I believe. Mm-hmm. We're talking 180 to 160, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and I do believe the Falcons will live in the red zone a little less than the Green Bay Packers. So that's probably why you see the majority of people leaning Watson and his ADPs in round 4, where London's ADPs in round 5, is because there's something to say about, okay, the offense is just not going to live in the red zone. The opportunities, therefore, will be a little lesser. London's going to be kind of capped. I don't think he can be a 12-touchdown player, whereas Watson could be a 12-touchdown overall player. So London's going to have to survive on yardage and receptions. And the good thing about playing on a bad team, though, is if you're behind, you're throwing in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Hence, no red zone production to our liking. So he'll probably have 7 touchdowns. But he could have more yardage through the air. But Watson's going to have more scores, more red zone opportunities, more rushing attempts, more rushing yards. It'll all kind of even out to be a whole lot better than London's big, massive yardage total, limited touchdowns, and playing from behind in the 3rd and 4th quarter, which is his only advantage. But yeah, I love both of them. I mean, does anybody in here object to the strategy? Not that it has to be your favorite approach, but that you would try it. Going, let's say, running back, quarterback, or going tight end, running back, or going tight end, quarterback, running back, and drafting your first 2 wide receivers in round 4 and 5 being Watson and London. Does anybody in here think that's not a cool approach? Speak up.
It's an excellent approach, because it always seems like the Chris Olaves and the Christian Watsons and all of these young receivers, they're so much easier to find than the running back and tight end position. I mean, it just, that's what worked out for me. I picked up St. Brown and Olave a little bit later on in the season. Nobody was even paying attention to him.
Yeah, I love the approach.
You always have those receivers, the Jackson Smith and Jigbas that's coming out this year, and some of these others. This is not an extremely talented wide receiver group coming in the draft, but it's deep, and there's a lot of talent there, and we'll be able to mine some of that later on. So that's usually my approach every year.
Yeah, I do agree that this draft class. I mean, look at the Moon Men real quick. This is
the Moon Men dropping loads.
This is
I'll tell you my approach, Smitty.
This is the Moon Men list. Look at these wide receivers. You got Wilson. You got Olave. You got Pickens. You got Watson. You got Drake London. This sophomore wide receiver class is through the roof. Who said that they got something they want to say?
This is Philly. I told you about I'm on draft pick 30 and 31 at the turn.
Hey, Philly, did you get your meatloaf and your tall glass of water yet?
Come on, man. I'm just depleted over here. I'm in the sun. I've been sweating for 2 hours.
I know. I'm asking. Did you get your glass of water?
No. Yeah, I got my water.
Okay.
I didn't get no meatloaf,
Okay.
though, but I am on a carnivore diet, if you ever heard of that.
Yeah, I have. So congrats on that. Hopefully you get your meatloaf in a timely fashion. Hit me with your question. Go ahead.
Okay, so on my 3-4 turn, if like we talked about earlier, I go Barkley and ETN, 1-2 of my keepers. I get to keep them for 3 years, right? So on the 3-4 turn, I'm looking at Olave and Garrett Wilson as my first 2 drafted wide receivers.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting Garrett Wilson, but isn't he going to be kept?
No, my brother has
I would
him,
go.
and he's
I
gonna-
would go Olave. I'd go Olave there. Olave has a lot of room in that offense for the Saints, and I think Carr's going to look for him often. I think the kid may be a top 10, 7, 8 wide receiver after it's all said and done.
While I don't necessarily disagree that Olave could outscore Garrett Wilson, if you want to land both of them, you have to take Garrett Wilson first, then Olave, because Olave is far more likely to fall. Oh, no, you got the back-to-back turns, right? Okay. But if, let's say you did, for anybody that didn't have back-to-back picks, you would want to go Garrett Wilson in hopes that Olave slips a little more because the ADPs are different. But, bro, if you land this, if you go Barkley and Ceedee, Garrett Wilson, Olave, or Barkley, ETN, Garrett Wilson, Olave, that's a phenomenal approach. Phenomenal. If you get Garrett Wilson at the 30 pick, I don't think you're going to get him at the 30 pick. I really don't see it happening. But if he falls based on circumstance that I can't foresee or really understand based on your keepers and the amount of players that will be kept and how it all shakes out, that's phenomenal, bro. You know, you could even go Barkley, Ceedee, Hall, Olave. Barkley, Ceedee, Walker, Olave. Barkley, ETN, Olave, Christian Watson is phenomenal. And, bro, if you land Burrow on top of all this, because he does sometimes fall to round 5, I want you to just walk straight to the bank, bro.
Right, and who's the substitute for Burrow if Burrow's gone? Fields?
Well,
Lawrence?
Fields has been going ahead of Burrow. So the odds are whoever drafts,
really?
yeah, Fields has been climbing to number 4, sometimes 3, but 3, 4, usually 4. Burrow's now 4, 5. It's a wide range, and it depends on the community you're drafting with. I've seen Fields go as the 3rd quarterback. I've seen him go as the 4th quarterback. I've seen him go as the 5th quarterback. But he's starting to go ahead of Burrow. Burrow's dropping to QB 5, which is unreal. It's unreal. And if you miss out on that, then go T. Law later. But I would rather have Burrow than maybe risk it. Like, if you think you can't get him in your 5th round pick, I don't know. I almost like Burrow. I think Burrow's a league winner, even from your 4th drafted player. I wouldn't mind reaching for him, but you can't trade, that's right. Yeah, I don't know. This would be a phenomenal start though, bro. Absolute phenomenal. Okay, hold on one second, bro. Let's go over to the Bruce, then to Steven.
We were talking about it earlier with Hopkins maybe getting released. Which one you think should obviously just be saying, you know what, we want him? So, or if the Bengals want him, let's just say the Bengals want him, you think they should just throw in T. Higgins in that deal? Try to make it happen a little bit easier?
You want Higgins over Hopkins, bro. You want Higgins over Hopkins. There's no way you do that. No way. Not to mention the contract is great. You know, you take Hopkins on. Part of the reason why teams don't want him is because of the contract. They want him to be released. You know, but you could restructure him too. But Hopkins, it's borderline, as I say, incompetence for any Super Bowl contending team, a la the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Chicago.
You took it right out. Took it away from me. I was getting ready to drop that
The
right
Chicago,
there. Perfect spot.
the Chicago Bears, the Buffalo Bills. It's borderline incompetence to not give up a 2nd or at least 2 third-round picks for Hopkins. I don't care what. Some people think, Smitty, that's not going to happen. Smitty, first of all, you don't know that that's not going to happen, number 1. Number 2, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it's borderline incompetence, just like nobody but the Niners practically, that I even heard of, went after Christian McCaffrey. Nobody. You're telling me the Buffalo Bills, incompetence. You're telling me the Buffalo Bills didn't say to themselves in a boardroom meeting with a bunch of dudes in suits, somebody, the intern, somebody didn't raise their hand and say, excuse me, this is intern Ian. Do you think I'm just me kicking this around? What's this guy talking for?
Yeah.
Intern Ian, do you think maybe if us, the Buffalo Bills, give up a second, a third, and a fourth for Christian McCaffrey, we might win a Super Bowl? Idiot. Get out of here. Somebody, Steven, go get me some water. Go get D. Phillies a glass of water. Go get him some meatloaf.
Well,
incompetence.
If I'm the owner of said team, and I find out that we didn't do that he was on the block and we didn't do our due diligence,
fired.
Everybody's going to be getting waterboarded.
Fired. You're fired. If you didn't get Christian McCaffrey and you had a chance to, if you're the Buffalo Bills decision maker, and you're the Philadelphia Eagle decision maker, and you're the Cincinnati Bengal decision maker, as much as I love the Bengals and everything they're doing, like you need to be on the hot seat. If you literally had no hand in and no handout for the Christian McCaffrey situation, ridiculous. Second, third, fourth rounder, that's nothing. That's garbage. That's fodder. Get rid of that in a second for Christian McCaffrey. Same kind of level of incompetence on a lesser trade package. Let's call it a second rounder. Let's call it a high second round pick that all these teams covet. It's such an amazing pick, a second rounder that might be a crapshoot. You can get rid of a second rounder if you're the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Chicago Bears, the Philadelphia Eagles. You can go ahead and get Hopkins for a second round pick. Guess what? You're a top 4 team lock in the National Football League.
What about getting Hopkins for New England and then JSN and trading for Lamar?
Real quickly, I think Isaac, are you still here? I'm so sorry, bro. Isaac said, assuming Sean Payton turns around the Broncos. Isaac, are you still here, pal? Assuming that Sean Payton turns around the Broncos, would you target any running back on this team, and for who? What if Javonte re-aggravates his knee? It depends on who they get the back of Javonte, because I still think they're bringing somebody in. It's a potential that they use what's his face, Samaje Perine, and Perine had a really good year last year. He is 27 years old, about to turn 28, which is the year of decline. His mileage is weird. I wouldn't say it's low. It's weird. He's been playing in the NFL for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. So he had 394 and two touchdowns on the ground, but he had a pretty impressive 38 yards for 287 and 4 receiving touchdowns. But Perine's far from proven. They're going to bring in a Tank Bigsby, a Sean Tucker. Maybe they draft a Charbonnet. Maybe they draft somebody big. Who knows? So I ultimately think they do confuse the backfield a little bit. If they don't, Javonte's the guy to own and the only guy to own. But you've got to draft him smartly in anticipation that he doesn't fire off until week 6. You have to prepare for that. Isaac, are you still here, bro? Did anybody see if Isaac's still here? I totally missed his super chat. I'm sorry, Isaac. Where's Isaac at? A Russian collusion dropping.
Call back in, Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac, call in. We got Russian collusion said the key is what does it say? That key gets me every time. What key gets you every time? Russian collusion said ADP $20 hauler from Russian collusion. What are we doing here? We got motion at the front door. We got $20 haulers making it rain. Collusion dropping the 20 spot. ADP every year has at least 3 players in the top 10. I think he's saying not proven strategy. That's what you might mean by the key. Should be a top 10 player. It would be a great topic to talk about. Are you saying, Collusion, you want a video? And I owe Collusion a video. If Collusion wants a video, he's getting a video. Let me just say that right now. Collusion deserves a video. If Collusion wants a video, he's getting a video. Let me see if I can write this down real quick. So, Collusion wants a video. Let me do this. I'm doing a London and Watson from rounds 4 and 5 video. That I'm for sure doing. And Collusion wants a video on 3 players that could be top 10 that aren't in the top 10. Is that right, Collusion? Do I have that right? If so, consider it done. Collusion, you deserve it. I'm giving it to you. You're dropping $20 haulers like they grow on trees. And you want a video request ever, Collusion? I'm putting it on the docket of videos. So appreciate you, Collusion. I'm sorry, who did I interrupt? Somebody asked a question, and I didn't even answer it. What was it? Who asked the last
question? Well, nobody knows. I have a statement that I want
to hold on, Steven. I want to make sure. Hold on, Steven. I'll let you go next, but I want to take care of the question. Somebody asked a question, and I started reading the super chat. Can somebody repeat what they asked?
Oh, I was talking about New England getting Hopkins and JSN and then trading for Lamar.
Oh, yeah. So I made this a point on the show like 1,000 times, so I think you may have heard it. If you haven't, let me give you the skinny. Hopkins in New England is unbelievably bad or unbelievably good. All depends on Lamar. JSN in New England at 14 overall is unbelievably bad or unbelievably good, all dependent on Lamar. If JSN or Hopkins goes to New England and Zappy and Mac Jones are your quarterbacks, say goodbye. Kiss of death to the wide receiver position. It's a place to go to potentially die as a wide receiver. They wasted away N'Keal Harry. They don't know what they're doing with wide receivers. Since Randy Moss, they just don't know what they're doing in New England, or since Tom Brady with the wide receiver position. They're building double tight ends constantly. They're doing it again with Gesicki. This double tight end nonsense is garbage. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, when that was announced a couple years ago, I vomited in my mouth when that was the approach to bring in pass catchers for the New England Patriots. What a boring offense. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry? Are you out of your minds? And then you're going to go ahead and do it again with Gesicki? And who do they have? They have Hunter Henry still? I think that's the other tight end, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah,
They still have Hunter Henry.
Gesicki and Hunter Henry, what are you doing? What are you doing? Neither of these guys can really stay healthy, you know. And it's like these are your best pass catchers. If they end up getting Kendrick Bourne's their number one wide receiver, I guess Juju.
Kendrick Bourne and Devontae Parker.
Yeah, Juju. I don't like Juju all that much. Look, if New England takes JSN, they better take Lamar, and if they do, I'm excited. If they trade for Hopkins and they don't get Lamar, bye-bye, Hopkins. It was really nice knowing you. Have a good career.
Yep.
Stevenson, 100 wide receiver catches.
Isaac, you here? Okay, Steven, go ahead.
All right. First of all, I'm going out on. I'm going to take one player, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I want to throw a hot take out there. And everybody in the chat at the end of the year, I'll take as much criticism or whatever. I'm going to take it anyway, and I'm fine with it. But I'm going to say right now that Damian Harris for the Buffalo Bills is going to finish the season with at least 14 rushing touchdowns. So that's the first thing. That's my call for the year at the running back position. And what I'd like to know, Smitty, is we were talking about Nick Chubb earlier. What you say was 3-1 at the 3-1 to 3-2, somewhere around there that turn. Who would you want, Nick Chubb or Najee Harris?
That's a tough one because Najee. First of all, can we not pretend you just said Damian Harris is getting 14 rushing touchdowns? I guess while possible, I'm going to bet against it. I'll say that. But I like the bold take, Steven. I'm never going to rip anybody for having a bold take. Me saying that Bijan Robinson's going to be the number one running back in fantasy football out of all running backs is a bold take as well, and people laugh at that all the time. So I give you credit for Damian Harris, but that's a crazy tall order. As for Chubb versus Najee, I probably lean Chubb because Najee's got a little bit later ADP for a reason, and he has his place. Like, I like Najee, but sometimes, haven't you guys found Najee falling to round 4 sometimes? Has anybody? Yeah. So, like, it's kind of like Watson and London. Like, I love both of them, but I'm going Watson in 4 and London in 5. It's not that I don't like Najee in 5 and I go wide receiver in 4. So to better answer your question, Steven, if I can get Najee in 4 or if I can get Najee in 4 and draft Olave in 3 or Burrow at the tail end of 3, let's say, or whatever, I'm okay with going Najee and that player more so than going Chubb and missing out on the player I want. Although I like Watson and Chubb. I guess if we compare apples to apples, Watson and Chubb versus Olave and Najee, pretty close. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Good question. This year's Jamal Williams. I don't know, Hazelnut. I'm not sure it's going to translate on over to New Orleans. Does anybody feel like Jamal?
Trust me, Damian Harris is the play later.
Does anybody
going to win leagues?
aside from Damian Harris? Does anybody think Jamal Williams is going to have similar success? I think it's a lot to ask. Detroit's special in what they did last year, and I think Monty's in a better position than Jamal. I'll say Monty outscores Jamal this year. Like Jamal in New Orleans doesn't outscore Monty in Detroit. Does anybody disagree?
I got Jamal.
It depends on Kamara for me.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with Kamara?
Yeah.
Kamara, whatever.
Yeah, but odds are Kamara's there for at least half of a year, so Jamal's not going to get. I mean, you're talking about similar sharing situation, but Jamal's on the bad side of the committee, whereas I believe Monty's on the good side of the committee. But I still like Swift as a place. Would you draft ETN and Pollard over Aaron Jones? Absolutely. But I do like Aaron Jones in his place, which it seems to be after Pollard and ETN. So it's not that I hate Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had a really good year. Collusion said now, how is Ron Navy, says Russian Collusion. Thank you for dropping a super chat in regards to Ron Navy. He's doing good. He is heavily sedated in the Lazy Boy. He's in and out, but he's doing really good. So Ron Navy's good. I've checked on him. He did fall asleep on the live stream the other night, which was awesome. He's the number 4 person to ever fall asleep on the show. So he's in good company, but he did mute himself. I said, Ron, you didn't make a single noise. He goes, yeah, I have a habit of muting myself, unlike D. Philly. D. Philly, on that note, D. Philly, let's go to D. Philly. Noises and all. We love you, D. Philly. Don't change for anybody. What can we do for you? And I'm gonna wrap it up here. So D Philly, give me your last take, and then I'm gonna drop you from the line. Then I'm gonna move to Corey and so on. So go ahead, D Philly. You got the floor for 10 seconds. Go.
Well, my hot take is Smitty, you are the man. I love listening to you. I've been listening to you for a long time. First time I called in tonight. Keep up the great work, and let's fucking go, buddy.
Yeah, go get your wife some flowers. All right. Later, pal. Appreciate you, D Philly. Call in anytime. I got you in the system, so it'll be easy for you to call in. I'll accept it. I want more D Philly. Okay, Steven, Corey. Final 10 seconds. Corey, go.
Dynasty Superflex. I don't need Ritter at all. What can I get for him in a trade?
Ritter, Dynasty Superflex. Can you try and get like one of the rookie quarterbacks like Bryce Young? I mean, you might be able to. Could you try and get Jordan Love?
Could I get a 24 first?
Yeah, I'd take a 24 first for Ritter. Absolutely. If you don't need him, I'd get Jordan Love. I'd much rather go across position like Watson, like London, like Kyle Pitts, bro. Go get Kyle Pitts.
I need running back.
Running back, I would obviously take Gibbs. I'd take Charbonnet. Charbonnet, that pick where you draft Charbonnet might be available for Ritter. Maybe you give up a second round or a couple second rounders with Ritter to get a pick that's going to land you Charbonnet. That'd be like.
Would you give up
number 5 or 6?
Would you give up the 112 Ritter and a 24 first for Bijan?
You've just been.
Absolutely. Bijan to the moon, bro.
That's like.
Yep, do it. Do it live. All right, bro. Call in anytime, Corey. We got you in the system, so it'll be easy to get in now. I'll answer your calls a lot more frequently. Get in here, Corey, more often, all right?
Yep, thanks.
All right, let's go to Steven. Steven, the floor is yours. 10 seconds, go.
always try and do the right thing when nobody's looking. And this life is short, and enjoy it as much as you can. That's all I got for this evening.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Take it easy, Steven. Call in anytime, pal. We love you. Steven's been real polite lately. He's like an angel. If the Niners, is this the message you had? Niner Rick celebrating. Here it is. Niner Rick, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Just let me know if you have a YouTube exclusive membership question. They're highlighted, not on my screen, so you just need to remind me. Niner Rick is celebrating 4 months in his membership. Mike Florio, first of all, to the moon.
To the moon.
Niner Rick, appreciate you. Congratulations on being a YouTube exclusive member. If anybody wants to get that green name, first of all, you can click the blue join button on the main YouTube page, but you can also go here. This is the YouTube exclusive membership. If you want the green name, you want the $1.99 a month to support the channel. Niner Rick says Mike Florio report said Niners might get Aaron Rodgers. We'll go live on this later if there's legs to it. But there's always potential buzz and smoke right now. The question is, are we hearing it from, anybody else? I'll get into this. We'll probably go live on this later. Like I said, if I can confirm that it has legs on it, but to my knowledge, I don't see much at all on it. I think Florio is just like saying, in passing, like, if this falls through, it would be great if the Niners went and got, Aaron Rodgers. That's all he's saying. That's why you haven't heard me speak on it, because I think that's the extent of it. Nobody's reporting on this as a possibility, bro. The Niners are already set in their plan. They'd have to have an unraveling at quarterback, which means Brock Purdy has to have a setback, which they don't know yet. They got to wait another couple months. Trey Lance is expected to start unless or compete with Sam Darnold, but Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. That's happening. It's already look. Aaron Rodgers doesn't necessarily want to go to the Niners, so he could retire. This is Mike Florio just being asked a question. You know what I'm saying? Don't think Smitty is even looking at the chat today. I'm in the middle. What's Niner Rick saying here? He's ignoring all of us. What are you talking? I'm answering your question as we speak, Niner Rick. I'm answering your question as we speak. Let's see here.
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
Did you see the what's his name? Kyle Shanahan is trying to bring up stuff about Lamar Jackson going to the 49ers.
Who is?
Kyle Shanahan. I guess like he's like trying to like pump it up that the 49ers are interested.
Where has he done this?
I'm trying to make sure I get like confirmation of
yeah,
this.
go get that.
I guess like he's being like interviewed about it, and it says that he has like 3 good quarterbacks, but then he's like talking about like he wouldn't mind like having like Lamar and stuff. It's like when you search it up on the internet, it's like when you type in like Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers like Lamar interest. I think it's like one of like the third. It's like one of the, like the first couple articles. There's like two different websites.
You got to give me more than that, man.
One of them is called Heavy.com. And then there's another one. It's from Clutch Sports. It's talking about it.
Let me read it real quickly. There's nothing solid on this. I can tell you that right now. Everyone knows Lamar's skill set. This is old news. Lamar is a stud. I'm sure they'll work it out, but Lamar's a great player. We've got 3 quarterbacks. We're pretty good right now. We're pretty set cap wise. This is him shooting down Lamar, but I don't see what you're saying about the other part of that. But yeah, look, Aaron Rodgers is not going to the Niners right now. Not unless the Jets deal fell apart, and it hasn't fallen apart. And Shanahan's going to be asked 100,000 different ways. Are you going after Lamar? Are you not going after Lamar? Are you going after Aaron Rodgers? And he's just going to laugh at all those questions because currently the team is not going any other direction than waiting on Brock Purdy's report. They want Brock Purdy. He's the starter. Shanahan wouldn't go after Lamar. He should, but he's not. So there's nothing to this. This is people just probing, and these are the reactions of the coaches. That's why you're not seeing a single thing being reported on Lamar going anywhere yet. There's nothing. There's nothing on Lamar. Lamar's got no momentum whatsoever. The man doesn't have an agent, and teams are waiting until after the NFL draft to strike if they're going to strike at all.
Here's my thing then.
Hold on one second, Bruce. Let me get all this off the screen here. So Niner Rick says, I don't think Smitty is even looking at the chat today. Number one, Niner Rick, we got over 100 to 200 people in the chat when this thing's popping off. And I got a lot going on, and I'm navigating this pretty well, if I have to say myself, Niner Rick. Not to mention, you're saying this while I'm addressing your questions. I also got your 4-year membership, you absolute monster. 4-month YouTube exclusive membership, which I highlighted and I appreciate. But no, Rodgers is not going to be a Niner. I'm not ignoring you, Niner Rick. I just read all your questions. Russian Collusion says, Smitty, I'm on the East Coast and get up at 4 a.m. every day. Can you go live early tonight so I can draft with you? I will do my best to try and go at the 9 o'clock hour my time, which is midnight Eastern on the dot. I'll try my best for you, Russian. Thank you so much for the $5 caller.
To the moon.
Russian Collusion to the moon. Okay, Bruce, you got 10 seconds, then I'm going to go to Steven for 10 seconds, then I'm going to leave.
Okay. Does Kellen Moore's presence, does that hurt Dak more or help Herbert more?
We don't know. We don't know if Kellen Moore is going to be we don't know if losing Kellen Moore and going toward a McCarthy play call situation is going to be the death of the Dallas Cowboy players or a rebirth of them. Like, I'm not putting it past the man to actually do good. Is Isaac still here? Isaac, let me know if you're here. I apologize for getting to your super chat late. But my answer was Javonte. I think they're going to bring somebody in. But Brucey, yeah.
I got one more point on this Brock Purdy thing. If they say Brock Purdy's their guy, well then why ain't they trading Trey Lance?
If Brock Purdy's their guy, why aren't they trading Trey Lance? They're going to if the right offer comes along. They've said that because when someone asked about Ayuk, they're like, we're not trading Ayuk. And then the same conversation, what about Trey Lance? Oh, we'll listen to anything. They're trying to shop him. The question is, will the Niners accept a reasonable deal? Because they mortgaged their future and gave up 3 first-rounders for Trey, and they're not going to sniff that. They'll barely get a first-rounder. They might get a conditional first-rounder, and they might not get nothing in 2023. It might be a 2024 first-rounder. So they might say, we'd rather just keep another young quarterback because we've had quarterback problems. So I don't know that he ends up getting traded, but of course they're looking to maybe get rid of the controversy, maybe just move on from Trey Lance because they botched it, and give the guy Trey another shot somewhere else. Don't put him in this situation. He's set up for failure. They've already said he's not the starter, let alone they're telling him he has to split work with Sam Darnold in the offseason. Like, let him go. Free Trey Lance. Get him somewhere like Atlanta. You know?
We got to make a sign that says that. Free Lance.
Free Trey Lance. Niner Rick says, you missed everyone's super chat, LOL. No, I didn't, bro. I didn't miss everybody.
I'll see you later, Smitty.
What's Niner Rick saying? Niner Rick, what are you on today, bro? Appreciate you, Brucey.
See ya.
Steven, final 10 seconds.
Hey, Smitty. So, what do you think about all this stuff that the Raiders are doing? They keep bringing in all these Patriots. It seems like, I don't know if you've seen too, is that they brought in Danny Amendola on that coaching staff. It just seems like McDaniels is really trying to bring in this whole Patriot way or something like that, and they keep bringing in this whole Patriot system.
Yeah, it is a little weird, but I mean that guys bring in guys they're used to, guys they like. The Miami Dolphins, they bring in a lot of Niners because you got Miami Mike from San Francisco. The Jets have brought in a lot of Niners. That's just the way that it goes. But the Raiders aren't doing anything great. They would have been better off keeping Waller. They would have been better off keeping Carr and going at this thing a different way on defense. So, like, well, what are you doing? You're going to get rid of Waller. You're going to get rid of Carr. You're going to bring in Jimmy G. You're going to bring in a bunch of, okay role players and then not have a better defense. Like, focus on defense, which they're doing a little bit. But, like, this Raider team's going to be a debacle. They'll be lucky to win 6 games, bro. Russian collusion. 5 gifted memberships. Russian. You're an absolute monster, bro.
The only thing I was just going to add is that I think that they're pretty dumb trying to bring in McDaniels. I think they should have left Bisaccia because I think that when they had that guy, they were in the playoffs. They had a decent record. They're in the playoffs, and who knows what would have happened? Like they went up against the Bengals. I believe that. If they would have ended up winning that game, like everything could have changed everything around. I wish that they would have just kept that guy and just to see what would have happened. Instead, they ended up letting that guy go and they bring in McDaniels, and now nobody knows what's going on with him.
Yeah. Who knows, bro? A lot of these teams are just, I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it with some of the ways these teams are rebuilding. But Steven, I appreciate you. I got to run. I got to go grab dinner. I'll be back if there's any breaking news. If there's anything on this Florio thing, and again, I don't think there is. The reason I haven't heard much about it is because it has no legs, Like sometimes stuff emerges while I'm live, and I don't see it. But for the most part, I'm on top of it. And I really only go live when there's breaking news. And if Florio is coming up with an idea, but no one's talking about it, then I usually don't just because he mentioned it on a show. But if it creates buzz and you start getting a lot of rumors, I'll go live to address it and either shoot it down or confirm it or say that it might have legs later. Or, usually anything that's getting spread around like mad, like Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport are retweeting it or tweeting it, CBS or NBC Sports or Yahoo's reporting something. Even if it's just like an athletic report that CBS just mentions, if it's getting spread around and I'm getting DM and text message on it, then even if I don't believe in it, I'll go live because it's obviously circulating, and I'll shoot it down, accept it, whatever. But there's nothing on this Niners, Aaron Rodgers, not until more surfaces on it to where I feel the need to shoot it down or address it because something's developing. There's nothing on it yet. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet. People are bored twiddling their thumbs waiting for this to go down, and they don't need to do anything right now. It would be advantageous, but at the same time, it doesn't have to happen right now. Both teams are trying to nickel and dime the situation,
Yeah.
So anyway, call back in tonight, Steven.
All right, and the only thing that you can see on here from this guy is that Hayden Hooker is visiting with the Green Bay Packers this week.
Yeah, Hayden Hooker is going to potentially be a gem if he falls in this draft a little bit, but he looks like he's climbing and climbing and climbing. All right, call in later, Steven. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. Later, man.
Later. Niner Rick dropping a super chat. Packers GM said they don't need a first-round pick. They're probably going to get a conditional first-round pick. There's been a little bit of different reports on this, whether they want a first round, they're going to get a potential conditional. Maybe it's not even a first-round pick. Maybe they want more than Green Bay's offering. Maybe there's something else involved. A lot of it has to do with contracts. There's a lot involved. Aaron Rodgers' contract alone is a problem because if he ends up getting traded after June 1, like the Packers might say, we don't want a 2023 first rounder. We want to execute a trade after June 1 so that we can divvy up the dead cap hit that Aaron Rodgers requires if you trade him before June 1. That could be part of the delay. Everyone's twiddling their thumbs going, all right, it's just going to fall through now. It's not going down. Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the Niners. That's not going to happen. This is more about what do the Packers want? Do they want to trade him after June 1 so they can divide up his $40 million into two different $15 and $24 million chunks? It's a $15 million cap hit in 2023 and a $24.5 million cap hit in 2024 if Aaron Rodgers is traded after June 1. If he's traded before June 1, and let's say then the Packers want a 2023 first rounder and they want to get this done before the draft, they might take a $40 million cap hit in 1 year in 2023 by getting Aaron Rodgers off the books before the NFL draft. So there's a lot going on, and that's why a lot of people run their mouth, not you, Nina Rick, and not saying anybody in here, these reports out, running their mouth, coming up with stuff. And I do too. Let's be real. I run my mouth too. I'm a talking head. But these reporters, I'm more of an opinion person that reports on the opinions, or I has an opinion on the reports. But the people that are reporting facts run their mouth sometimes, and they're proven fact people. They're proven reporters only. I went to the best journalism college in the United States, in my opinion. I know journalism, okay? But I do admit that I am a talking head more than I am a journalist. Although I am a journalist as well, but I'm a talking head. I reserve the right to throw my opinion around like it's water. You know, like earlier. You want a tall glass of water? Your boy Smitty's here to deliver it. But at the same time, some of these reporters are expected, they're held to a little different standard than your boy because you're reporting on factual information, and people just run their mouth about it, twiddling their thumbs. Let's go, Aaron Rodgers. It's all Aaron Rodgers' fault. It's not. This is on the Green Bay Packers and the Jets trying to nickel and dime this the best they can before ground zero. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate you all. Russian Collusion, thank you for the super chat. Niner Rick, thank you for the super chat. Russian Collusion with the other 2 super chats. How is Ron? He said, great question, and he's doing good. Appreciate you. Russian Collusion dropping the $20 hauler. We got Isaac in here. Isaac, again, please let me know that you got this. Comment in the video on the comment section and let me know you heard me. But again, Isaac, 2 hours and 30 minutes in, I'm telling you, Javante's the guy to own unless they bring in a big name player on draft day or bring in Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt might be an option, and then that cloudies the Javante situation. So it really does depend on who they bring in. P. Ryan, might be enough that Javante escapes the NFL draft and free agency. So thank you for the super chat. Garrett, appreciate your super chat. Bijan and Ceedee, easy picks, says Garrett. Garrett, thank you so much. Garrett, you still here? Garrett, appreciate your super chat, young man. Where are you at, Garrett? Where are you at, Garrett? Garrett's the man. Garrett to the moon.
To the moon.
Garrett to the moon. Appreciate you, Garrett. Thank you guys all for the super chats. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for go watch this show that I dropped earlier today on this breaking news situation here. Garrett, are you here? Let's see what Garrett is. Garrett here. Darnell, am I drafting tonight? Yes, I am. Sam, appreciate you. Niner Rick, appreciate you. BW, appreciate you. Hit that like button on your way out the door. Mitch in the building, way up. David Klein, Cop Watch, appreciate you. Hod Prime, appreciate you. D-Town, Hazelnut, Matthew, Niner Rick already said that's fire. Appreciate you. I've gone up pretty high to try and give everybody a thanks. G Mike, appreciate you. Darnell, appreciate you. Sam, appreciate you guys. Later. See you all tonight. Oh, I'm live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Rain or shine, Christmas or not Christmas, New Year's, doesn't matter. This is what I do. I live, breathe it. You can count on this. You can also count on me going live whenever news breaks. These are the optional shows. Sometimes the majority of the time they happen, but Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, midnight. Sometimes I might not, do one. So just know that these are the gravy shows, the bonus shows. They're not guaranteed, but they're pretty much guaranteed. These are. See you all tonight. Later, Mason. Later, Keaton. Later, Matt Slater. Albert, appreciate you.
Get Breece. The stack above all stacks. It's time to drop the pancake emojis in the live chat.
Got him.